heavy rains in Chennai, there are power shortages and outages are there. So what we would do is we will have this session continuously for 2 hours or 2.5 hours without any break, so that it will be easier for all of us to concentrate on the subject in one go, so that we will be able to cover all the maximum major points here. Shall we start? We will start.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Good morning. Today we are going to have a session on reinsurance. Normally, I used to have this as a classroom session in Coimbatore, where I used to describe this by taking some examples on the blackboard and parallelly run this presentation and then explain the methods of reinsurance and as well as the numericals and the methodology and reinsurance terminologies that are being used. Today, being an online class, what I will try to do is I will try to explain this reinsurance based on this presentation, as well as the presentation goes on. In between, I'll be explaining at length about the basics of reinsurance, what are all the methods that are being adopted. So I would request you to please concentrate on my lecture also while seeing the presentation. To start with, we should know what is reinsurance first. All of us know the very famous one-liner, reinsurance is nothing but insurance of insurance. But if I were to ask you as to what is reinsurance, who wants to reinsure and why, then we will be able to understand this concept of reinsurance. First question, what is reinsurance? It is insurance of insurance, we know. But who wants to reinsure and why? Who wants to reinsure? Obviously, like the insured, the insurer also would like to protect his interests. So the insurer in turn would like to have a protection in the form of reinsurance. So who wants to reinsure? Here the insurer wants to reinsure. But why he wants to reinsure? Why can't he keep the entire risk unto himself as well as the premium unto himself? What is the need for him for the reinsurance? We all know very well that companies are underwriting very huge risks in all portfolios, whether it is fire, aviation, liability, or oil and energy, whatever be it. There are many huge risks which are being underwritten by the companies. As all of us know, the insurance companies have very little retention. So they require the support of a reinsurer to come to their rescue for underwriting such huge risks. For instance, if I get a proposal for an aircraft from an aviation airliner, the aircraft is worth 400, 500 crores. That proposal comes to an insurance company. When they see the proposal, they realize the value of the aircraft is 500 crore and hence they do not have the capacity on their own to write under this risk. But they can't say no to the proposal. So what they do, they are referring this proposal to a reinsurer who in turn comes to the rescue of the insurer, who gives his capacity also along with the rates, terms and conditions. And he says, now you give this to your customer and this is how the reinsurance support is given. In this example, what we have learned is that the reinsurance is providing the underwriting capacity to the insurer. To explain more in a more colloquial way, I used to give this example in all my classes. Like, if you go to an electronic shop, you have fridge, TV, everything. So when I see a very big TV, say 52 inches LCD TV, I am attracted towards it and I want to buy that TV. But what do? I check my packet and find out that whether I have the money to purchase that TV. Yes or no? I realize that I do not have the money to buy that TV, but I want to own it. In such a scenario, you would have found in such a very big electronic shops, at the corner of the shop, there will be one table, one financier will be sitting there. He will be saying that, don't worry, boss, I'm here to help you out. You come here. The prospective buyer goes to him and he is applying for a loan. He is getting the support from the financier. And now he is able to buy the TV. What was not possible a little earlier became possible for him with the help of this financier. If you replace this example with an insurer on the customer and a reinsurer with the financier, you will understand the importance of reinsurance. What was not possible earlier to underwrite such a huge aircraft by the insurer was made possible to underwrite by the reinsurer in the same way. What we have learned now is the function of the reinsurance. The first function of a reinsurance is to provide underwriting capacity to the insurer. In the reinsurance parlance, the insurer is also known as reinsured.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, sir. Sir, I
Yeah.
think the presentation is not changing. It is in the main
No,
screen
it will
itself.
not change. That is why
Okay.
I told you that this presentation will not be running parallel to what I'm saying.
Okay, sir. Just want to
After
check.
15 or 25 minutes, I will start showing that. Then you will understand.
Yeah, okay.
My voice is clear. Is it audible?
Voice is clear, sir. Just wanted to ensure that any problem with the video. That's why I wanted to
No.
check.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. For the benefit of other viewers, I again repeat, this PPT will not run parallel to the explanation I am giving. This will be shown after 15 or 20 minutes after my explanation so that you will understand the concept of whatever I have told you in this presentation. Coming back to the functions of reinsurance, we spoke about the first function, which is providing underwriting capacity. I gave you an example as to how this was useful for an insurer, how it was helpful for an insurer by getting a capacity from the reinsurer. When the insurer realized that on his own he doesn't have the capacity, what do I mean by the capacity here? The capacity is nothing but the net worth of the company and the retention of the company. In this case, when the company realizes that it doesn't have enough retention capacity, it seeks the support of reinsurer who comes to his rescue, and he is providing his capacity to the insurer along with the rates, terms and conditions. So now we know what is the first function of the reinsurance, which is providing underwriting capacity. Having given this, the next point will be obviously what will happen in the event of a claim. Obviously, when you have proper reinsurance support for such huge risks, when a huge loss comes also, the loss will also be shared by the reinsurer as per the proportion of the risk shared earlier. When such losses are being shared by the reinsurer, there is no pinch in the insurer's pocket because he is going to bear only his share of retentions loss, and the other losses are being paid by the reinsurer. Hence, his balance sheet is unaffected, and so also the solvency margin, which is protected. All of you would have heard of this geographical spread of risk. The reinsurers are not only writing their businesses from only one part of the globe, they are underwriting businesses from every part of the globe, so that when losses are happening on one part, let us say Japan is affected by earthquake, that doesn't mean that the Western hemisphere is also getting affected. So the losses on the eastern side is getting offset by the profits on the other side. All of us have heard of one saying, no, don't keep all the eggs in a single basket. This applies to reinsurance also. So these are all the basic major functions of reinsurance, which we have just now seen. We now know what is reinsurance. I just now explained you what is the first function of reinsurance. Because of this underwriting capacity, even if there is a loss, he is going to pay his share of loss. So there is a financial stability. I spoke about geographical spread of risk here, and the chain reaction is the solvency margin, and other financial features are protected here. Having spoken this, we now know what is reinsurance, what are the basic functions of reinsurance, and who wants to reinsure and why. Now we are going to go to the next part of reinsurance, which is known as methods of reinsurance. Before going to this, I would like to ask the participants one question. Just before this, I was explaining you the importance of reinsurance in underwriting huge risks. Does that mean the reinsurance is there only for such huge risks? There is no reinsurance on smaller risks? Can anyone reply? I don't know whether it.
Sir, sir,
yeah.
Sir, I would like to interrupt you. Sorry, actually, I wanted to know what is the meaning of reinsured. By reinsured, is it denote a
Yes.
reinsurer or insurer?
No,
I'm
no, no.
confused.
Yeah, I will repeat. We are now in the reinsurance class. This reinsurance has certain terminologies. Here, the insurer is known as reinsured. Here, the insurer is known as reinsured. Please note it down. That is why I used the word reinsured. Is that clear? Insured is on the
Yes,
direct
sir.
side, which you are issuing policies to the direct to the insured. Now here you are becoming a reinsured. Yeah.
Sir.
I was just now asking one question. I was telling you that the importance of reinsurance is felt now by giving this example that, whenever you get such huge proposals, it is being supported by the proper reinsurance arrangement. The question I have just now posed is this: does that mean the reinsurance is there only for such huge risks?
No, sir, it's not for.
No, even it is for a smaller risk.
Very good. Can you substantiate that point?
To avoid accumulation, probably to avoid accumulation.
To avoid accumulation problem is again reinsurance. Okay. When you are saying accumulation, it can be a catastrophic loss, isn't it? Or AOG peril, where more than one risks are affected. So accumulation is there. That is why you are going in for reinsurance. My point is that it is not for the examination purpose, just to understand reinsurance. If I say that reinsurance is there only for such a huge risk, does that mean there are no reinsurance for the smaller risks? How many of you have heard of IRDA guidelines on reinsurance, which says that every general insurer in India is supposed to cede, CEDE. CEDE means to give away. The amount that is given is known as cession, CESSION. I repeat, as per IRDA regulations, every general insurer in India is supposed to cede, give away, CEDE, dash percentage of the risk to the national reinsurer. Who is that?
GIC re.
GIC re. What is the current percentage to be ceded to the national reinsurer?
4%.
5%.
4%.
4%.
4%.
Is it 5 or 4?
4%.
For the
5%.
current
4.
year, for the current year, it is 4%. So please note that as per IRDA regulations, every reinsured or insurer is supposed to cede 4% of the risk to the national reinsurer on all the portfolios. What does it indicate? It indicates that even on a motor policy you are writing, TVS 50, there is a reinsurance concept. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Because even in that policy, how much you are going to cede? 4%. So at the most, how much percentage you can retain?
96.
100 minus 4.
96.
96% only you can retain. So this answers my question that as far as India is concerned, there is a regulation that on each and every risk on all the portfolios, you are supposed to cede 4% of the risk to the national reinsurer. So even if I get a small PA policy or a motor policy, even if I have the capacity to retain the entire risk, I can't do that because of this session. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
This is
Sir,
the
why?
first read. Yeah.
Sir, why this compulsion that we have to cede this 4
That is the
percentage?
that is a government regulation. It is in India. Tomorrow or maybe in another 2-3 years, they will remove this. The idea of this was at the earlier period was that at least that X percentage will be protected to the insurer. It was 20% long back, before 20 years I'm saying. It became 15 and 10 and 5 and now it is how much? 4%. We do not know, it can become zero also after 2-3 years. We do not know. But right now, how much it is? It is 4%. So when you see this example, even on a smaller risk, as per this regulation, you are supposed to cede 4% of the risk to the national reinsurer. It is compulsory, and that is why this is also known as compulsory cession. I use the word cession. Please note down. The third point which I said is reinsured, cede, and now I'm using the word CESSION, compulsory cession. That means you have no choice. On every policy, every risk, you are supposed to cede 4% of the risk to the national reinsurer. This is a compulsory cession. It is also known as obligatory cession. It is also known as statutory cession as well as priority cession. Now, after this compulsory cession on each and every risk, the insurance companies can decide as to how much they want to retain unto themselves on each and every risk, on each and every portfolio. I repeat, after giving away, after ceding the compulsory cession, the insurance companies are at liberty to retain on each and every portfolio unto themselves, which has to be decided by them. This is known as retention. Retention is nothing but the amount of liability an insurer would like to keep himself for any given risk in a portfolio. Then a question will arise amongst ourselves, how the retention is being determined. Yes or no? For each
Yes.
and every portfolio, the company has to decide as to how much maximum it can retain unto itself. The answer is, though there is no mathematical formulae for this, there are certain aspects which are taken into account in deciding this. For instance, in deciding the retention, the first and foremost point taken is the company's net worth. And out of that net worth, how much percentage you would like to expose for each and every portfolio. When I say portfolio, I mean each and every department: fire, engineering, liability, motor, marine cargo, hull, etc. Because on each and every policies issued in these portfolios, you will have to have a retention after the compulsory cession. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, as an insurer, as a reinsured, I have to take a decision as to how much I would like to retain in fire, in marine, in motor, in liability before the financial year starts. Because I am going to get the proposals on 1st April itself on all these portfolios. So I should have a proper reinsurance arrangement as well as my retention plan for the ensuing financial year before it starts. Every insurance company decides as to how much they want to retain on each and every portfolio, as well as what are all the subsequent reinsurance arrangements to be done to protect the risk in each category. This is done well before the financial year starts, and that sheet which contains these details, the details of how much you want to retain, what are all the subsequent reinsurance arrangements made to protect the risk, is known as reinsurance program. Is known as reinsurance program. Coming back to the original point, this is about deciding the retention. As I said, the first aspect which will be taken into account is the company's capacity or its net worth, and from there it is decided as to how much I would like to expose. Apart from this, I would like to see the performance of the portfolio on each category and decide as to how much I would like to retain. Thirdly, the assessment of risk profile of each of these categories. When I say the risk profile, I mean the compartmentalization of the policies into, say, 1 to 100 crore, 100 to 500, 500 to 1000, and how it has behaved over a period of 5 years, whether there are losses in segment A and B and C, and based on the losses, the companies may decide as to how much they would like to retain. Apart from these 3 points, there is one more, which is this. There are policies where you do not have the technical knowledge. So when you get a proposal of that nature, since the required technical knowledge may not be there, you may seek the support of the reinsurer. So there also the reinsurance has to be made. So that is also one of the points to be taken. And finally, the company's directive as to where we want to concentrate this year and how it has to be protected, and what is the retention to be made on such portfolios. In a nutshell, in deciding the retention, we are taking into account our net worth, the claims ratio, the loss scenario of the portfolio, the risk profile, and the technical expertise required in which field. Based on all these factors, the retention is decided by the company. In some cases, the retention is on some insured. In some cases, the retention is decided on probable maximum loss, like in engineering or fire. And in some cases, it is based on the per bottom. In marine, we call it as per bottom. And in liability, it is on AOA basis, etc. Now we have spoken about the retention and what are all the aspects that are to be taken care of while deciding the retention. And as I said in the beginning, though there is no mathematical formulae, these are all the guidelines or basic points which are taken into account, and only the optimum retention is arrived at. Let us assume yeah.
Sir, one doubt. Sir,
Yes.
actually, you told the retention is sometimes done on PML basis, and what is the other one which you told?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to elaborate on that?
No, sir. Actually, I wanted to know retention is decided on PML basis, and other you told one other point also on
Sum insured.
Sometimes it is done on sum insured. Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And if it is liability on AOA basis, anyone occurred, AOO.
In your accident.
Yeah, correct. Shall we proceed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So now, in a nutshell, we have seen what are all some basic points. I have not taken exhaustively. These are the points which are taken into account in deciding the retention. Now, as I told you, in a classroom session, I used to explain these points by drawing two different types of policies. But I am going to tell you that same thing now orally, but you just visualize, then you will be able to understand. I am taking a proposal of 1 crore PA policy vis-a-vis a 500 crore fire policy. 1 crore PA proposal and 500 crore fire proposal. For both these risks, the first step is common. What is that? The sharing of compulsory cession to the national reinsurer. How much percentage?
4%.
4%. 4%, isn't it? So the first step is common for both. The next step is retention. All of you would agree that out of 1 crore proposal of a PA, after giving away this 4%, the 96% of 1 crore will remain. Correct? No, which is 96 lakhs, which can be very well retained by us. Even in the worst scenario of a claim, we are having the capacity to pay the loss from our pocket. But can I apply the same yardstick on the right side? Can I retain the entire 96% on 500 crore? It is not possible, isn't it? When such a huge risk is there, you cannot retain whatever balance is available after the mandatory obligatory cession. You are checking your net worth, you are checking all these aspects. Say, let us say, after all this, you have decided to keep only 100 crores maximum on any one fire risk policy. So what will happen here in the case of fire policy? In the case of fire policy, after the mandatory 4% obligatory, you are using a maximum retention of how much? 100 crores as per this example. Correct? No? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. But is it still over? It is still not over. If you deduct from the total sum insured the mandatory obligatory and the retention component, there is a surplus left. To explain this, I'm going to show you one example in the presentation. Let us see this presentation here, this example with the heading of surplus treaty. You are able to see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I have taken an example of one policy of a sum insured of 500 crore here. After that, what is the first step we have done here? We have given away the mandatory 4%. So it came to 20 crore, correct? No?
Yes, sir.
In this example, I have said this insurance company can keep only up to a maximum of How much as retention here?
10%.
50 crore. Let us go to the percentage later. How much quantum they can retain?
50 crore.
50 crore.
50 crore.
Whatever be the size of the risk, this insurance company has decided to retain a maximum of how much? 50 crore
10%.
only.
50 crore.
50 crore only they can keep. You just forget about the other points. You stop up to retention now. Out of 500 crore, you have given away mandatory obligatory 20 crore. You have retained 50 crore. So out of 500, after deducting these two, 70 crores, how much you are having balance?
430 crores.
430 crore. 430 crore is remaining. Is remaining what? It is remaining unreinsured as of now. It is remaining unreinsured as of now. Every insurance company knows that the operating officers are getting n number of proposals of this nature. So they know that to take care of such surpluses over and above this obligatory and retention, there should be a reinsurance arrangement to take care of such surpluses. Here, in this case, what is the surplus visa? 430 crores, correct? No?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
yes,
Yes, sir.
this 430 crore is surplus left without reinsurance. Just now I said insurance companies know that the operating officers will get the proposals of this nature. So they plan well before the financial year starts a reinsurance arrangement to take care of such surpluses like what we have seen now. That reinsurance arrangement which takes care of such surpluses are known as treaties. They are known as what?
Treaties.
Treaties. In the normal parlance, we have seen this word, we have heard of this. India and Russia enters into a treaty. What does it mean?
Agreement, sir.
Contract.
It is an
Agreement
agreement.
of contract.
It is an agreement. Here also, it is an agreement between whom and whom here? Between the insurer, that is reinsured on the one hand, and various reinsurers, I use plural, and various reinsurers well before the financial year starts, where a treaty is arrived at or an agreement is arrived at, where the company who is ceding here? The insurer,
Insurer.
who is also known as
Insured.
reinsured.
Yeah.
Since he is going to cede, he is also known as cedant, C-E-D-A-N-T. He is also known as cedant. So
Transfer.
every insurance company has done a reinsurance arrangement to protect such surpluses over and above this mandatory obligatory and the retention to take care of such surpluses. That is known as treaty. Since it is taking care of such surpluses over and above obligatory and retention, these treaties are known as surplus treaties. I repeat for those who have not understood again. In the above example, we have seen that for this proposal, we have utilized the mandatory 4% obligatory cession. That this insurance company, let us say X insurance company, has already decided that for the fire, I will keep only 50 crore as retention. So out of 500, if you deduct 50 and 20, it will be 430 crores. This 430 crores remains as a surplus, which is unprotected. Insurance companies know that there will be n number of such proposals which will be coming to our operating office and we need to underwrite. So they are protecting such surpluses by way of a treaty which is entered into before the financial year starts. What does it mean? The treaty will be in place before 1st April itself, so that even if you get a proposal on 1st April, this will be taken care of by the treaty. Since it is taking care of such surpluses, these are all known as surplus treaties. Now, having said this, in this case, the surplus will be 430 crores. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. But the reinsurers are also like the insurers. They are also having limited capacity. So they don't want to give support to the sky high limit or unlimited. They are also interested in keeping some restriction on this. So they say that, boss, I am ready to support your surplus treaty, but not up to the sky high limit or unlimited, but it will be restricted. For example, in this case, up to 4 lines. These reinsurers say that I am ready to support your surplus treaty up to 4 lines. When they say lines, what does it mean?
Retention limit of the reinsured.
Yes. Line is nothing but the amount of retention an insurance company keeps unto itself. In this example, what is the retention amount is kept by this insurance company?
250 crores.
50 crore.
100 crore.
50 crores.
50 crore. No, you take this example, presentation example. How much is the retention I have shown here?
50 crores.
50 crores.
50 crores. When the reinsurers say that I will support you up to 4 lines, it is 4 times of your retention. So how much it will be?
200 crores.
200 crores. Whereas what was the surplus left? 500 minus 70. How much was it? 430. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Out of 430, your surplus treaty, since it is known as first surplus treaty, they are ready to support only up to 4 lines. That means out of 430, you are getting support only for 200 crores.
Yeah.
Again, what is surplus left after deducting this?
230 crores.
30 crores.
230 crores.
Yes. But fortunately, this insurance company has one more surplus treaty, which is known as second surplus treaty. But again, he is restricting to up to what as per this example?
2 lines.
2 lines. So how much it comes to? 2 into 550. So how much is ready to support?
100 crores.
100 crores. Correct? So please follow this up to the SST. I call it a second surplus treaty. It is an automatic arrangement. What do I mean automatic arrangement? Treaties have already been finalized. Treaties have already been finalized
Pre-existing.
before the financial year started. So when I entered into a treaty, I told those reinsurers in the treaty agreement that these are the normal terms and conditions based on which they will be issuing the policies. And wherever such surpluses are there after the mandatory and my retention, those surpluses are to be taken care of by you. So he has already signed the agreement with 4 lines and 2 lines respectively. But still, after utilizing these 2 treaties, I have a surplus left without any reinsurance support. That is how much it comes to 130 crores. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
This
Yes, sir.
150 crores remain unreinsured. For this, the insurance companies do not have any permanent reinsurance arrangement for that financial year. When such things happen, when you get a proposal of this nature, please follow me. when you get a proposal of this nature, as long as the sum insured is up to your treaty limit, you are at liberty to quote terms on your own without asking the reinsurer's permission.
We didn't understand
Why?
it.
Why? Because you have already told the treaty reinsurers that for this year, based on these terms and conditions, I will be issuing the policies. So there is no individual permission is required from the treaty reinsurers. So administratively, it is very convenient. Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
Administratively, it is very convenient because I have already got his permission to underwrite policies and utilize his capacity under treaty. But if you see the last sum insured, which is 130 crores, which remain unreinsured and there is no reinsurance protection as per the insurance program. In such a scenario, the insurance companies will prepare a sheet containing the details of this proposal. For example, it will say Tata Steel's policy renewal from 1/4 to 31/3, sum insured is this much, and below that claims experience for the past 5 years, rate suggested, deductible, clauses, etc. And this sheet will be floated to the reinsurers to get their support for the balance 26%, which is for 130 crores. This sheet, which contains the details of this proposal, name, claims experience, rate, deductible, and the support percentage required, is known as SLIP, S-L-I-P. It is known as what?
Sleep.
SLIP. The SLIP is nothing but it is more or less equivalent to your RFQ on the direct side, request for quote. What do you normally do? When you get an RFQ, you go through that. Based on the claims experience, you are suggesting a rate, deductible, etc. Isn't it? The same way, when you are seeking the support of reinsurers for the balance unreinsured portion of 26%, to those reinsurers who do not know about the details of the risk, you are supposed to give the details of the risk in a sheet containing all these basic details. This is known as SLIP, S-L-I-P. This SLIP is floated to the various reinsurers of the portfolio, either directly or through the brokers, and you are seeking their support to the rates, terms, and conditions you have quoted.
In simple word, what will be the slip?
SLIP is nothing but the details containing the sheet containing the details of the risk for which you are seeking the support. It is like a proposal form.
Okay, thank you.
It is like a sheet in which you will say the name of the insured is Tata Steel, name of the reinsured United India. You will say this is the renewal date. These are the claims experience, rate suggested, deductible, warranties, deductible, everything. And then you will say, I seek the support of the reinsurers to the extent of how much percent here?
26.
26%. Because up to treaty, you already have the support. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sir,
So-
sir, one question.
Yeah.
Sir, in this example, retention amount is 50 crore.
Correct.
And first surplus treaty is 4 lines, means
Yeah.
50 into 4, 200 crore.
Correct.
So it is confirmed that always retention amount will be equal to 1 line.
Equal to one line. You are right.
1 line.
When I say one line, it is equivalent to your retention, which is 50 crore here.
So it means whatever retention amount is there, it will be treated as 1 line.
One line. You are right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Welcome. Now, coming back to this example, we spoke about the details of the risk, which is given in a slip and you are going to the reinsurer to get his support. You are going to a reinsurer A. When I say you, I mean the insurance company. This proposal, which is due for renewal on 1st April, will be in the hands of insurance companies well before the inception date, that is in the month of March itself. Now, when I know that I require a support of 26%, I have to go and seek the support of the reinsurer. So I'm floating this proposal, which is known as slip. This goes to reinsurer A, for example. He goes through this proposal and he says no to this proposal. I am not ready to accept and give my support to you. What does this mean? This means that in this type of reinsurance, where you seek the support of reinsurers on case-to-case basis. What do I mean by case-to-case basis here? Only in this case, for 130 crore, I require these reinsurers support because the balance portions are already covered by a reinsurance arrangement known as treaty. Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Only on case-to-case basis, I require the support of the reinsurers, and that is known as facultative reinsurance. What is facultative reinsurance? Facultative reinsurance is a reinsurance arrangement where you are seeking the support of reinsurance on case-to-case basis, only where it is required. In this case, I required fact support of 26%. That is why I am approaching the reinsurers for their support. For instance, had this been, the sum insured been 300 crore, will it cross the second surplus treaty and come to the fact?
No, sir.
It will not
Sir,
come.
repeat.
I
Sir,
am
repeat.
asking you one question to understand this point. I just now spoke about facultative reinsurance, isn't it?
Yeah.
What
Yes,
is
sir.
facultative reinsurance?
Case to case.
Facultative reinsurance is a reinsurance arrangement where you are seeking the support of reinsurers only on case-to-case basis for a required percentage. In this case, I wanted the support of facultative reinsurance for a 26%. I posed one question to you. What would have happened if the sum insured is 300 crore? Would it have crossed surplus treaty?
Yes,
No, sir.
yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we don't
Within treaty
need
limits.
facultative.
It will be closed within the surplus treaty. There will not be
Yes.
any requirement for you in the fact at all. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
You agree that only on case-to-case basis, I require facultative reinsurance. In 300 crores, I don't require.
Hmm.
In 500 crore, I require. That is why
Yeah.
I am reporting this to the reinsurer support, and that is why I'm sending this for reinsurance support. So this type of reinsurance, where you seek the support of reinsurance on case-to-case basis, only where it is required, is known as facultative reinsurance. Please note that this is not an automatic reinsurance support like what you are getting from surplus treaty.
Yeah.
Unlike surplus treaty, in the facultative reinsurance, the reinsurers have an option to say no to your proposal. Whereas in the case of surplus treaties, the surplus treaty reinsurers have no option to say no to your proposals. Why? Obviously, the reason being that they have already agreed to your terms and conditions well in advance before the financial year started. Clear?
Yes,
So
sir.
surplus treaty is an
Yes, sir. Sir,
automatic.
one small doubt, sir.
Yes.
So this first surplus treaty we have taken for 4 lines. This four is something that the
Yes.
reinsurer is ready to offer, or is that our decision? Why
Yes.
it is not 6 directly?
Because as I told you in the beginning, the surplus treaty reinsurers would not like to expose their entire capacity to one company. I may have capacity of 10 lines, but I don't want to give this to one company. I will give only 4 lines to you. Keep the balance for some other company on their program because they are doing well. Or the reason could be that this is my maximum net worth I can expose to myself. So the decision of how many lines support is not taken by the insurance company, but it is being taken by the reinsurers. Clear?
Okay.
Yeah.
Clear, sir. And in case if
Yes.
they are ready to give 6 lines, we will still be going with 6 lines,
Well and
or
good. No, it
for
is
the
good for
safety
the
purpose, we
company. No,
will
it is
only go
good
with.
for the it is good for the insurance company. No, when you are getting higher support, then clear.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
And sir,
Yeah.
about this
Any,
retention,
yes.
how we are deciding this retention, sir? You initially
I
told
had
that it's
I had
decided based
explained
on the net
you in the
worth.
beginning. I
Net
had
worth.
Capacity.
explained to you in the beginning.
Capital
Maybe
worth.
if time permits, I will come back to that. We have to cover some other portion also here. This retention I explained at the beginning. I don't know whether you were there at that time. Let me see if time permits. I will come back to that. In a
Okay.
brief, in a nutshell, in deciding the retentions, the companies are looking at their own net worth. What is the exposure that can be given for any portfolio? What is the loss experience of the portfolio? What is the risk profile of the particular portfolio? Whether they have the technical expertise on the particular portfolio to retain more or not. All these are taken into account in deciding the retention.
Okay, sir.
Now,
Sir, one last question, sir.
yeah.
So in the fact they are asking to modify the terms and conditions, which is against the treaties in the
No. I
first.
will tell you. I have not completed that. Now that when I complete, I think you will be able to understand. Then you please come back to me. Okay. Now, I said the facultative
Okay,
reinsurers
sir.
have an option to say no to your proposal, isn't it? Yes or no, sir?
Yes.
And I said in
Yes.
contrast, the treaty reinsurers do not have an option because they have already agreed to the
Yeah.
treaty that for this entire year, based on the terms and conditions given, you are issuing the policies. So treaty reinsurers cannot say no, whereas the liberty of saying no is there for those who are in the facultative reinsurance. This is a big difference. And number two, when you say no, that means when a reinsurer says no to your proposal, what the insurance company does, the reinsurance department, you cannot keep quiet. No, you have to get the terms. When a reinsurer when a reinsurer A says no to your proposal, we turn back and go to reinsurer B. Reinsurer B also go through this proposal. He is also not interested in giving the support on the terms and conditions given by the insurance company. Then we go to reinsurer C. He is ready to support, but not on the terms and conditions given by the insurance company, but on his own terms and conditions and deductibles. For instance, let us say in this example, this insurance company has suggested 1 per milli. The reinsurer C says, no, I will be charging 1.25 per milli. Deductible 10 lakhs from the insurance company. No, deductible 25 lakhs. Why? Because based on the past claims experience, the reinsurer would like to increase the deductible. Not only that, so that through the example given, through the claims experience given, he knew that every year during the monsoon, let us say this cement factory or whatever it is, they are exposing their stocks in the godown, in the ground floor. Every year it is prone for flood. So he is going to impose a warranty that in addition to the rates, terms and conditions, it is warranted that all these stocks are kept at least 2 meters away from the ground level. What we have seen in this example is that in contrast to the slip which is floated by the insurance company, for which there are no takers, there is a reinsurer who is ready to support this with his counter offer, which is obviously higher than the insurers. In this case, since you have no other option, you are taking his proposal and you are giving it to your operating office to be submitted to the client. What we have seen in this example is that unlike the treaty reinsurers, those reinsurers to whom the reinsureds have submitted their proposals, the reinsurers have the liberty of saying no to your proposal. This type of reinsurance, where you seek the support of reinsurers on case-to-case basis, is known as facultative reinsurance. From the examination point of view, they might ask you a question by saying that which is administratively cumbersome, whether treaty or FAC or none of the above. Obviously, from the example which I have given you, you will know which is administratively cumbersome. Which is administratively cumbersome now?
Facultative, sir.
Facultative.
Facultative.
Obviously, no, you have to wait for his nod. He is not giving. I have to run from pillar to post. I have to go to the third reinsurer. So all these are making me, it is giving a headache, but there is no other go. So obviously, this is a cumbersome one. And which is very beneficial to us, obviously, treaty. So when you see from an examination point of view, they might be asking a question like this, which is more administratively cumbersome, whether it is a treaty or FAC or both or none of the above like that. We should be able to understand and give the answer. It is FAC. Having said this, let us assume that this facultative reinsurer who is ready to support to the extent up to 26%, he has given his counter offer. And he says, if you are ready to take this, you take it, I will give support to 26%, or else leave it. Please note, when you get a counter offer like that, when there is no support for your offer, and only one counter offer is available, this terms and condition given by the facultative reinsurer is applicable for the entire risk. It is not only for his portion, it is for the entire risk. Whatever rates, terms and conditions, deductibles, warranties are given by this reinsurer C, since you have no other quote to be compared and find which is beneficial, you will be going by this reinsurer C's option and you will be giving it to the client. Assuming that this is materializing, obviously the premium to be collected will be as per the reinsurer C's terms on 100% basis. Is that clear?
Sir,
Yes,
can
sir.
you repeat what you ended with this 100% basis? I couldn't get that line.
I will tell you, some of you might be thinking that since this reinsurer has given the rates, terms and conditions, which is a counter offer from him, it is applicable only for him for 26%. It is not like that. When you are accepting the rates, terms and condition from him, it is for the entire risk, entire 100% of the risk. The rates, terms and conditions are to be followed for the entire risk, 100% of the risk. When you go to the client, you will be giving the rates, terms and conditions of the facultative reinsurer, which is applicable for the entire risk, for entire 500 crore risk. So the rate will be the same for the obligatory portion. The rate will be the same for treaty, everybody.
Sir, in that case,
So
the treaty need to be modified.
Reinsurance and treaty will not.
Sorry?
Sir, in that case, what will happen to treaty that has already been executed, whether it need to be modified? Because there also some
treaty, they are ready to accept as long as it is within the rates, terms and conditions. For example, if the treaty says there is an exclusion, for example, terrorism is excluded. If you ask treaty reinsurers to include terrorism also, to cover terrorism also, obviously they will not take.
Then the scenario will change, na sir? Actually, the FSC.
No. As I told you, these are all the common terms and conditions which is agreed well in advance. In the treaty, you are not committing what is the rate you are going to charge on each and every risk. In the treaty, you are not committing the rate that is to be charged on each and every risk. You are saying that these are the normal terms and conditions based on which we will be issuing the policy. You are not committing the rates or deductible, anything on that. That's a very good support, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Whereas facultative reinsurance is not like that. He is going through your rates and terms and then he is not agreeing and he is giving a counter offer. So obviously the facultative reinsurance is more stricter than the surplus treaty.
Sir, here is confusion. Hello?
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, lines are ceded, suppose X company.
Yeah.
And facultative some other company, then how the X company will go as per the facultative company's terms and condition?
That is not a problem. Like what you are saying in a facultative reinsurance, you are not referring each proposal to the surplus treaty reinsurers. To the surplus treaty reinsurers, you are not saying, I repeat, to the surplus treaty reinsurers, you are not saying that for each and every policy, this is the rate I'm going to charge. No. You are sharing only the common terms and conditions, STFI, what are all the covers you are going to give, and how the treaty has performed in the past 5 years. So based on your past experience and what is the terms and conditions they are offering. They are not depending on the individual rates. They are worried about overall treaty performance only.
Okay.
You clear? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Correct.
Yeah. So if obviously when the facultative reinsurance comes, it could be either the same rate or it can be higher only. Na?
Sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. So what we have now seen in this example, please see this example. This 500 crore risk now is shared in which percentage? You see on the right extreme, obligatory 4%. Your retention is how much?
10%.
10%. The first surplus treaty carries 40%. So second surplus treaty again 20%. Then finally facultative reinsurance 26%. If you add up all together, it comes to 100%. So yes, here, please follow this point. This risk here, which is the risk? Tata Steel. I'm just giving an example only. In this case, this risk of 500 crore is being shared amongst the reinsurers and retention in this fashion, correct? No? 4, 10, 40, 20, and 26. Supposing if I get a premium of 1 crore, let us say for this risk, this 1 crore premium will also be shared as per the percentage arrived at the right extreme. That means what? If I get 1 crore premium, how much this insurance company will get for its retention component? Hello?
10
lakhs.
10
lakhs.
10 lakhs, you are right. Because they are retaining only 10% of the risk. So the premium will also be 10% of the premium, which is 10 lakhs. Supposing if there is a loss of 1 crore claim, how much this insurance company will have to pay from its pocket?
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
10 lakhs.
Same. Correct, no? The loss is also shared in the same fashion. What we have just now seen is that whenever a risk is shared in some percentage proportion, the same way the premium is shared as well as the losses also shared. This type of reinsurance is known as proportional reinsurance, because wherever the risk is shared in this proportion, the same way we saw that the premium is also shared and losses also shared in the same fashion. Supposing if there is a survey fee of 10,000 only in this case, in this example, even that 10,000 also will be shared by these reinsurers in the same fashion. So the insurance company's share of its portion will be 10% of 10,000 only. So what we understand now is that irrespective of the quantum of loss, even the losses will also be shared in the same fashion. Whether it is claims or claims related costs, everything will be shared in the same fashion. Legal fees, surveyor fee, all also will be shared in the same fashion. This type of reinsurance, where the risk is shared in some proportion, the same way the premium is also shared and the same proportion, the claim is also shared. And that is why this is known as proportional reinsurance. What we have just now seen is one portion of the reinsurance, which is on the top now. There are two methods, I said. First method is proportional. The second method is known as non-proportional. We have just now spoken about proportional treaty. Normally,
Sir, before proceeding further, I have one doubt.
yeah.
Sir, actually, when we were placing our risk of 500 to different reinsurer, and step by step, when none of the
Correct.
insurance reinsurer companies are not accepting the offer of this insurer, then only one reinsurer was accepting, and he was giving counter offer. In that, you said that the rate will be applicable for the entire risk and not only for his portion.
Exactly, because he has not agreed to the terms and
Yes.
conditions given by the insurance company. Yeah.
Sorry, sir. Please repeat.
Because he has not agreed to the rates and terms given by the insurance company earlier. No.
Sir, but actually already earlier the risk has been already been shared among various treaties previously before this facultative came. So in that also that rate will be reflected. The revised rate will be applied to that particular treaties.
No. When you work out this in a proposal, it is in the proposal stage itself. The policy has not materialized. When it will materialize, only after it is finalized and paid by the client, it will get materialized. Correct? No? Only after making proper reinsurance arrangement and getting the final terms only, you will go to the client and give the rates. Only after it is finalized only, you will give. What you have seen is that if a proposal is underwritten, this is how it will be underwritten. And before it is given to the client, I want to ensure that the entire 100% is reinsured and rates and terms and conditions are fully accepted. In this case, what we have seen, the policy is going to incept on 1st April or renewal is due on 1st April. In the month of March itself, you are working it out and you are realizing that after this surplus treaty, there are no reinsurance arrangement, and then only you are seeking the facultative reinsurance support. At this point of time, you have not gone to the client. Please note that. You will be going to the client only after ensuring that the entire 100% risk is a fully reinsured or reinsurance arrangement is made. Yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. What you are thinking is that I will go to the client, I'll get the business, go up to surplus treaty, and then I'll go to facultative. It is not like that. Because the risk will incept on 1st April, a claim may come on 1st April, isn't it, madam? So you should ensure that before the risk incepts, all these arrangements are in place, including the facultative reinsurance, and assuming that this client has accepted the rates and terms and conditions given by us, which is by the facultative reinsurer, and he has accepted, then you have to go back and tell the facultative reinsurers, boss, based on your terms and conditions, I have given it to the client, he has agreed, and we have received the premium. The cover is going to incept from 1st April. Please bind the cover to the extent of this 23% for your fact portion. So you are doing all these things before the cover is incepted.
Yes, sir. But sir, again, I'm confused regarding that the rate which the facultative has decided that I will be
Sir,
ready to give the risk.
sorry to interrupt. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Participants, please have your doubts at the end. Let the class continue and please answer the questions posted by the faculty because time is limited. Please have your doubts at the end.
That would be a better suggestion, I would think, because we are also running out of time. You please note down your points. I will earmark the final 15 or 20 minutes for that. Isn't it, madam? Okay. I think that's
Yes,
a
sir.
good
Yes, sir.
suggestion. We will finish this
Yes.
so that we need not worry about the time, because anytime the problem is about the power cut here in Chennai. It's raining heavily here. So we would like to cover all the points, and that's why I'm slowly going through one after the other with the repetition. Now, we have spoken about proportional reinsurance, and I said this means, what is a proportional reinsurance? I said this is nothing but a reinsurance where the risk, premium, and claims are shared in some proportion, and that is why it is called as proportional reinsurance. If you see this diagram, which is in front of you, normally a reinsurance can be done by way of treaty or by way of a facultative method. You now know what is a treaty and what is a facultative method of underwriting. In this case, if you see on both, on treaty as well as on facultative, both can be done on proportional as well as non-proportional basis. We have just now seen one component, which is proportional. You have seen two examples given under the proportional. One is quota share, the other one is surplus. We have dealt with the surplus treaty at length in the examination, in the example which we have seen. What is quota share treaty? Any idea what is quota share treaty?
Fixed percentage.
Yeah, tell me.
Fixed percentage.
Very good. It is very simple. Now, we have seen in the beginning, when a risk is apportioned, the first portion of apportionment is done to obligatory, isn't it? The first portion of apportionment of risk is for obligatory. That obligatory cession is a fixed percentage of 4%, irrespective of the category, whether it is fire, motor, or engineering. The percentage to be ceded to the reinsurer remains same, 4%. There is a fixed quota. So this is an example of quota share. Quota share treaty is nothing but the reinsurers are bound to accept a fixed percentage of the risk accepted by them. In the case of obligatory, it is 4%. I may have a quota share where I will say 50% of the risk will be ceded to the reinsurers on all the policies under one portfolio. That means whether it is a small risk or big risk, I will give you 50%. This type of fixed percentage of ceding or sharing the risk is known as quota share. What we have seen in the obligatory is an example, which is also a quota share. Surplus, we have seen as to how it has worked for us. We have seen how it is accepted by the reinsurers in terms of lines. So now we know what is a line. A line is nothing but the amount of reinsurance retention an insurance company keeps unto itself. Now, a mere recap of what we have learned. What is a proportional reinsurance? Under proportional reinsurance, the sum insured, premium, and losses, if any, irrespective of the size of the loss, are shared proportionately. It's very clear, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, a question may come in the exam. What are all the examples of proportional reinsurance? They may give one or two and see none of the above like that. You see, these are all some of the examples which are under proportional reinsurance. First one, quota share, I have explained you. Second one, surplus treaty, we all know how it is being arranged. It is in terms of lines. Facultative, we now know that we are going and doing this facultative reinsurance only on case-to-case basis. The facultative reinsurers have an advantage of saying no to your proposal, whereas treaty reinsurers cannot say. And the administratively advantage for surplus treaty is that I don't have to go to them for each and every proposal as long as it is within the terms and conditions agreed in advance. Whereas facultative reinsurance, it is administratively cumbersome. What is the last one you are seeing here?
Pools.
Pools. You see, you must have heard of this pool, no? Terrorism pool.
Terrorism pool, motor TP pool.
Yeah, now you have nuclear pool. Okay. What is a pool normally? What is a pool? You know, you have an idea?
Walking shoe.
Hello? Pool is
all just like terrorism pool.
Exactly. Pool. What is a pool actually? Basically, pool is also a reinsurance arrangement. Pool is also a reinsurance arrangement where the member insurance companies are pouring in their capacities to form a common arrangement which is known as pool. For example, you know, the terrorism pool was formed in 2001 after the WTC attack because the reinsurers stopped giving their support for the terrorism at that point of time. They have withdrawn their support. So there was a need to start a pool for terrorism. So that is how this terrorism pool became operational, initially by getting the support or capacity by the 4 PSUs. All the 4 PSUs, they gave their capacity and the pool is formed. And again, the pool's resources, you know, whatever premium claims, whatever is there, again, it was reinsured back to the member companies. As all of you know, the reinsurance of reinsurance is known as retrocession. So this is how a pool is functioning. Now we have terrorism pool and nuclear pool. Please keep this in mind. Obligatory is not compulsory for these two pools. So what we have seen in proportional example and what are all the methods involved. So this is how the proportional reinsurance is being done. It is just a mere recap of what we have discussed now. What is a quota share treaty? The ceding company cedes a fixed proportion of all business in a class to the reinsurer agreed by them. Okay. You see here the reinsurers have agreed for 90% quota share. So whatever be the size of the risk, you have to give 90% of the risk to the reinsurer and balance is retained. Of course, in this case, I have not taken an obligatory. If it is there, you have to give obligatory, keep the balance 6%, but you have to give 90% to the quota share reinsurer because it is arranged on 90% basis. This is an example of how a quota share is being done. Irrespective of the size of the risk, you are supposed to cede the fixed percentage agreed by the reinsurer. So it is 90%. So like what we have seen, 4% in obligatory, 90% of the risk, whichever it is, whether it is 5 lakh, 50 lakhs or 1 crore 50 lakhs, you have to give 90% of the risk to the reinsurers who are participating in quota share. This is just for your information. Just keep this. Unlike quota share, here it is a method in which the percentage of retained sum insured varies for different limit of sum insured. It need not be 10 and 90. It can vary. So this is known as variable quota share. And I will come to this point now before going to the other one.
Sir, please give example of variable quota share.
Variable quota share, if you see here, no, it is 10 and 90. I will keep 10 and 90. Instead of 10 and 90, I may retain less on a higher risk or 10% on a lower risk. If you see here, I am retaining entire 10% here for any type of risk, the earlier example. Correct, no? Risk 1, risk 2, risk 3. But in the case of variable quota share, it is a method in which the percentage of retained sum insured varies for different limit of sum insured and reduces with increase in limit sum insured. That means I have the liberty to reduce my retention. It need not be 10%. As the size goes up, I can keep 9 or 8, whatever it is. But quota share will remain 90 only. So for the balance portion, again, I have to make some other reinsurance arrangement. This is known as variable quota share, but it is not in practice now. Then we are going to the proportional treaties. Before reading this point in the presentation, please follow me here, one point which I'm going to explain you. We have spoken about the surplus treaty, isn't it? And I said the surplus treaty is being arranged well before the financial year started. That means for the financial year 1/4/2024 to 31/3/2025, the treaty is already finalized in the March itself, in the month of March itself, so that even if you get a proposal on 1st of April, it should be protected by the surplus treaty reinsurers. These treaties are always incepting on 1st April and always end on 31st March. Treaties are always incepting on 1st April and they'll be ending on 31st March. When I say a treaty is on risk attaching basis, that means that treaty will be taking care of all the policies which are incepting between 1st April to 31st March. When I have a surplus treaty for 2024-25, That means this treaty of 24-25, which is starting on 1st April 2024 to 31/3/2025, will take care of all the policies which have incepted between these two dates, even though the expiring date may go beyond 31st March. This is known as risk attaching basis. Now, if you read this line, it will be clear. The reinsurer covers only the policies issued or renewed on or after the inception date of the treaty as agreed with the reinsurer. So, when I have a surplus treaty, which is always starting from 1st April to 31st March, these treaties are taking care of all the policies which are issued incepting between 1st April to 31st March. This type of arrangement is known as a risk attaching basis. Here, the reinsurer's liability commences simultaneously with that of the ceding insurer. That means this is known as follow the fortune clause, that he has to follow the original policy, terms and conditions agreed. So, if there is any liability, the liability commences simultaneously with that of the ceding insurer. He has to follow the ceding insurer for the liability. What we have just now what we have now learned is that surplus treaties are always commencing from 1st April and they are ending on 31st March. Number two, these surplus treaties are taking care of all the policies which are issued between 1st April to 31st March. Now, when I talk about these surplus treaties, this treaty is a book containing all these conditions. Obviously, this will have all the clauses also. Normally, in any treaty, there will be a clause which is known as accounting clause, which says that, for example, for any treaty, the accounts will be rendered after the end of the quarter within 30 days from the end of the quarter. And within 30 days from the submission of the accounting, the reinsurer should confirm that the same is in order. And within 30 days from the receipt of confirmation, the settlement on either side should happen. So accounting clause gives you the periodicity in which the accounts are to be rendered, A, and settlements are to be made by either side, B. So this accounting clause, for example, says, I will give you the accounting for every quarter within the end of 30 days from the end of the quarter. That means for the 1st April to 30th June, within 30th July, I will give you the first quarter accounts, which has to be confirmed by the reinsurers within the next 30 days. And within 30 days of the confirmation, the settlement by either side has to happen. Now, what this accounting will have, as one can imagine, having entered into a treaty, the next job will be what? Either to pay the premium or collect their share of claims. Isn't it? Yes or no? So what we do for the first quarter, from April to June, whatever treaty's share of premium is there, that is shown as an income. Let us say this is 1,000 rupees. During the same quarter, treaty share of claim is there, that is 100 rupees, which is an outgo for the reinsurer. So 1000 rupees an income, 100 rupees is the claims payable by the reinsurer for that quarter. So what is the balance left now? 1000 minus 100. How much it will be?
900.
900.
900 rupees. 900 rupees is the amount payable by the insurance company to the reinsurers. I'm just giving a small example. This has to be confirmed by the reinsurer. Yes, I have gone through, your working is correct. And after that, within 30 days, as per this example, 900 rupees has to be settled by the insurance company, the reinsured. In this example, you have seen that there is a premium of 1000 rupees is to be paid to the treaty for the quarter ending 1st April to 30th June. There is an agreement in the treaty, and of course, for any reinsurance transaction, the insurance companies are getting a small component which is known as reinsurance commission. It is known as RI commission, which is just to somehow offset your direct side expenses in acquiring the business. What are all the expenses you are incurring on the direct side?
Commission.
Agency commission,
Management expense.
management expenses, all these are there.
Acquisition charges.
Expenses. So, in order to meet that, though he will not be giving the entire 35% or so, he will give a token commission to somehow offset these expenses. This is known as RI commission, which is also agreed in advance in the treaty. There are reinsurers who give you a flat commission. The flat commission is, let us say, 10% as per this example. If in the treaty the reinsurers say, I'm ready to give you 10% of RA commission on the premium ceded to me. If you go by this, what is the premium we have taken? 1000 rupees is the premium to be ceded to the reinsurers. Yes or no?
Yes.
As per the agreement, how much percentage he is supposed to give us as a commission on this?
10%.
10% I said. So 10% on 1000, how much it will be?
100.
100
rupees. Is it an income or
100
outgo to
rupees.
him? 100. 100 is an
Outgo,
income or
outgo.
outgo to him?
Outgo.
Outgo. Now you add this outgo along with the earlier example of another 100 rupees as claims, I said. Correct? No?
Yes.
Yes.
1000 rupees is the premium income. 100 rupees claims outgo. 100 rupees again is a commission outgo. So 1000 minus 200, still 800 is there. It is to be paid to the reinsurer. Yes or no?
Yes.
I have given you a simple
Sir,
logic. 1 second.
Sir, why we are
I have
paying?
given you
Sorry.
I have given you a simple logic, but actually the figures will run into crores. But logic is very simple. You are paying him for that quarter, whatever premium it is supposed to be paid to him. And during that quarter, whatever treaty share of claim to be recovered, as well as the commission. Yes, madam. Now you can tell me.
Sir, why we are paying 800 crores to reinsurer?
1000 rupees is the premium to be paid to the reinsurer. No, you are using the surplus treaty, isn't it?
Okay.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
You are not retaining the entire risk like a PA policy. You are using the surplus treaty from 1st April to 31st June, 30th June. There are n number of policies issued, and in those policies, in some cases, you have already used the surplus treaties capacity also. So the relative premium will be there. That has to be given to him, no? Yes or no?
Yes,
You
sir.
have to give only proportionate premium.
Obviously, the same way during the quarter, whatever claims you have paid for which you are entitled for recovery from the reinsurers, you are recovering. So 1,000 rupees the premium I have to give him. 100 rupees the claim is his share. 100 rupees is commission. So 1,000 minus 200, it is 800. I have to pay to him in this quarter. It is a simple example I have given you. In practical, it will be in crores. When I say treaty's premium or treaty share of claims recoverable, please keep that in mind that this is a sum of premium which you are supposed to make the payment for the entire quarter. You have issued thousands and thousands of policies, and for which you must have used the surplus treaty capacity, and depending upon their respective proportionate share, the premium has to be paid to him. You are not paying him for each and every policy separately. You are putting everything for that quarter together, and whatever policies I have issued from 1st April to 30th June, and wherever the surplus treaties I have used for that portion, this is your share of premium, and this is your share of claim, and this is your share of RA commission. So finally, I find this is the net settlements to be made by the insurance company. Please go through and confirm. Within 30 days, he will confirm, yes, as per the agreement, you have taken 10%. Premium claims paid I have seen. And if I have any doubt, I will ask you, please proceed for making the payment. Please note, in such type of treaty where you are rendering only the account and you are not sharing the details of the risk or how much percentage of the treaty you have utilized for each risk, you are not sharing the details of the risk. You are only giving a combined premium amount and a total claim recoverable, putting all the amount together for the quarter. There may be 600 policies, there may be 800 policies for that quarter. You are not sharing the details of each and every risk. What is the premium that is to be given for surplus treaty for each and every risk? No, you are not giving. You are only giving the total accumulated value of all the policies, treaty amount for the quarter, same way you are giving for the claim. Since you are not sharing the details of the risk to him, this type of treaty is also known as a blind treaty. It is a blind treaty because he is trusting you. He based on your terms and conditions you have done, but he has got the liberty to ask for any clarification, copy of the survey report, voucher, anything. But when the account is submitted, he goes by what you are giving and he is accepting that. In this example, we have seen that it is payable by the insurance company. Let us assume that the same reinsurer is participating in another portfolio, engineering. This one is fire surplus treaty. The same reinsurer is participating in another treaty, which is engineering treaty of the same insurance company. Now, for that engineering treaty also, you have to give a separate quarterly account, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, assuming that in the engineering treaty, the balance receivable is 1,000 rupees. The same way I have worked out in engineering, but it is not payable to the reinsurer. It is receivable from the reinsurer. How much it is? 1,000 rupees. If I have a set off clause or offset clause, I repeat, set off or offset clause, I have the liberty of netting off these two together and make the net settlement. What does it mean? I have to give you 800 to you. There you have to pay me 1,000. So if I want to net it down, if I have this clause, which is known as set of clause or offset clause, what will happen? It is he who has to pay me 1000 minus 800, 200. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This is known as offset clause or set of clause. We are calling this as set of clause. There is one more clause known as currency clause. Companies like New India or Oriental, who are all having overseas branches, they are all dealing this in various currencies, no, in different countries. They may have one surplus treaty protecting all these risks under one roof, under one surplus treaty, even though of different currencies. But that surplus treaty will have a currency clause which will say that the net settlement of the treaty shall be in US dollar or yen or whatever currency that will be agreed upon well before the treaty begins by way of this clause. This is known as currency clause. We have seen the example of accounting, how an accounting is given, and we have seen how the net settlements are made. Nowadays, the surplus treaties are accounted and the settlements are made every quarter. Long back, it was on a half-yearly basis. So it takes time, more than 6 months. After that, another 30 days or 90 days for confirmation. It's a very long period. So if you have any amount recoverable from the reinsurer, it takes time. No, you will have to wait for more than 6 months. So there is one concept in reinsurance where a provision is there that if there is a very big loss and in that loss, the treaty's share of loss exceeds the predetermined amount agreed, you are eligible for recovery immediately from the reinsurers without waiting for the end of the quarter, as the case may be. This arrangement is known as cash call facility.
Cash call.
This
Please
arrangement
repeat,
is
sir.
known as cash call facility. What is a cash call facility? As we have just now seen in an example given by me, normally you are getting the amount settled in the quarter ending or as per the old practice at the end of the half yearly. But when I'm settling a huge loss, I am paying it today. So I want the reinsurer's money back today itself so that I will not have any impact on my balance sheet. To enable this, there is a provision in the reinsurance arrangement in the treaty where the treaty reinsurers agree that if the treaty share of loss exceeds this predetermined amount, some X amount, you can raise a cash call and get the amount immediately from the reinsurers. That means you don't have to wait for the accounting period, whether it is a quarterly account or a half-yearly account. You don't have to wait till that period is over, it is confirmed and payment is made. You will be getting this amount immediately once the reinsurer share of claim exceeds the predetermined amount agreed between the reinsured and various reinsurers. This is a good facility, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
This is known
Yes,
as cash call facility. What we have seen in the proportional treaty is now very simple. I am just summing it up for your easy understanding. Proportional treaty, we know the risk is shared proportionately, so also the premium and claims. Examples are quota share, surplus treaty, and of course FAC and pool are there. FAC is administratively cumbersome, but whatever terms he is giving, that has to be taken on full. And the facultative reinsurers are giving their own terms and conditions. So these proportional reinsurance we have seen. And when you come to the accounting terms, I said normally it is giving on quarterly basis. And there is an accounting clause where the periodicity is mentioned and how it is being done. And I spoke about the commission just now. And I gave an example of how much percentage can be given. It is a flat rate commission. In the example which I gave you, 10% for all the premiums ceded to the surplus treaty. If the surplus treaties are agreeing to give you a 10% flat premium commission, it is known as flat rate commission. There are two types of RA commission here. We now know there is a flat rate commission, which is 10%, example given by me. There is another type of reinsurance commission. The RA commission is also known as ceding commission, CEDING, ceding commission. The other method of RA commission is also known as sliding scale commission. I am talking about the second methodology in the commission given by the reinsurers, sliding scale commission. Unlike the flat percentage of commission which you are earning, the sliding scale commission is a commission which is linked to the ICR of the treaty. The reinsurers are very clever. They don't want to part with a higher commission to you irrespective of the ICR. They want to link their outgo with the ICR so that you will be also part of it. What is a sliding scale commission? I will show this with an example, then you will be able to understand this. As the name indicates, the surplus treaty, the reinsurance, as well as the sliding commission working will be as under. You see, I have spoken to you 5% on premium or 10% on premium. It is like that. In the case of sliding commission, which you are seeing here, there are two horizontal columns which are going. One is talking about loss ratio. The other one is talking about commission percentage. As can be seen here, when the loss ratio is least 30 to 32%, you are getting a higher commission of how much here? 20%. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But as the commission ICR goes up, as the ICR goes up towards left-hand side, the commission percentage is coming down, and finally you can see for 65% or more, you will be getting only how much?
5%.
5%. So obviously you are not getting a flat commission. It is linked to the ICR. So when you will know your ICR, obviously the ICR of any portfolio will be known only at the end of the year. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So you are going to give your account on quarterly basis, whereas the actual ICR you will be knowing only at the end of the year. So in such cases, wherever sliding scale commissions are there, they will give you one provisional commission to be applied, which will be adjusted after the accounting period is over. So what they will say, you take a 10% of provisional commission to be adjusted at the end of the year based on the loss ratio. So if I have taken 10%, and if it comes to be at the 5% later, if I come to know that my ICR is 65%, obviously I have to adjust and keep only 5% and return the balance. So this is known as a sliding scale commission. So in an examination point of view, that can be a question on what is a flat rate commission or sliding scale commission. So we need to know how it works here. One is on flat basis, the other one is linked to the loss ratio. So this is normally done nowadays in the surplus treaties. They are linking it to the ICR. It is in the fire surplus treaty and it is also in the engineering treaty. So they are following this method nowadays. So what we have seen in the proportional treaty is that how the accounting is made and how the premium and claims are recovered on either side. If I have the set off clause, I can make this offset, and how the currency clause is working, all this we have seen, and also the types of commission. I have spoken about the type of treaty, and I said the treaty is normally on risk attaching basis. Usually, such surplus treaties can be worked or can be done on two different bases. Please follow me. I am now going to the next aspect of surplus treaty. I will sum up later at the end of this as to what we have learned now. The treaties can be finalized or done in two different ways. One is known as underwriting year basis. One is known as underwriting year basis. The other one is known as clean cut basis. One is known as underwriting year basis. The other one is known as clean cut basis. We will talk about underwriting year basis. Normally, for policies which are long tail in nature, like engineering, which runs into 6 years, 7 years, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes
yes,
or no?
yes.
For
Yes, sir.
such long tail nature policies, the surplus treaties are normally on underwriting year basis. That means there will be an engineering surplus treaty for 2024-25, and if any project which is incepting in 2024-25, which is still continuing in 2034 and 35, whatever installment that are being collected at that period is also to be paid to the surplus treaties of the incepting year, that is 2024-25. Till the project is over, it is the responsibility of the treaty reinsurers who are in the inception stage. So whatever installment premium you are getting at a later stage in different period of time will go to the reinsurers who are at the inception stage. So also the claims. But there is a disadvantage. What is happening nowadays is the project period is keeping on extending. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, 11 years. It is keeping on extending. Long back, before 20 years, I would say, these underwriting year based surplus treaty reinsurers were honoring as long as the project is there. That means still it is over, but you are supposed to keep them informed about that, any extension in advance. They were honoring the claims. But when such extensions were keeping on going in almost every project, now the reinsurers cannot keep their books open. Now they have waken up. They are saying that I will write underwriting year basis, no problem. But again, it is not an unlimited portion. I will give you only up to 84 months. That is why if you see on the direct side policies which you are issuing in engineering policies, in the circular there is a restriction that the policies should not be more than 84 months, including maintenance period. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Nowadays, you cannot issue an engineering policies beyond 7 years. Why? This is the reason. There is no reinsurance support for you beyond that. So this is known as underwriting year basis, where the reinsurance book will be open up to that 84 months. So all the installment premium you are collecting the 4th year, 5th year will go to the same reinsurer who were there at the inception of the policy, and the claim will also be paid by them in the same way. In contrast, there is another method I told you, which is known as clean cut method. In this clean cut method, though these treaties are also from 1st April to 31st March, and all the policies from 1st April which are incepting between these two dates are accepted, these treaty reinsurers who are in the clean cut method want to wash off their hands on 31st of March and go out. They say that my liability will be over on 31st night and I am no longer liable for any loss. So I am going out. They want to wash off their liability and they go. When such reinsurers are moving out of their responsibility on 31st of March on clean cut method, obviously the insurers are worried on two factors. As long as the claims are paid within 31st of March, yes, there is no problem. You can recover those treaty share of claims from these treaty reinsurers. They are there. But when they leave on 31st night, there are two components which are remaining unprotected. What are they? One, for those unexpired portion of the policies which are there after 31st of March, for which a claim may come or may not come, we do not know. Who will be taking care of that? Number two, similarly, as on 31st of March, there will be some claims outstanding remaining, which will be ultimately paid after 31st of March. So when he goes out, from whom I can recover the money? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
These two are the valid points from the insurance company's point of view, whereas reinsurers participating on clean cut method, they are very sure that they want to go out on 31st March night. In order to protect the unexpired portion of the policies for which a claim may come or not, we do not know, that is to be paid, and those claims outstanding will have to be honored anyway. So the insurance company says that, okay, you are at liberty to move out. You can wash off your liability as on 31st night, but on one condition. Condition number one, you have to pay me the relative proportionate unexpired portion of the policies for which I have paid you the premium already. Because you are not going to be responsible for that, you said. Pay me the unexpired portion of the policy's premium to me. The universal practice adopted here is that, assuming that because the policies are incepting on various dates, 1st April, September, February. So if you start calculating the unexpired portion of the policy's premium for each of them, it will take time. So the universal practice is that, okay, when you are going out, you pay me 35% of the treaty's premium I have paid you in these 4 quarters. If in these 4 quarters I have paid you 100 rupees as premium for surplus treaty reinsurers, you pay me 35% of it, which is 35 crores before you leave. To address the second problem, whatever claims outstanding is there for treaty share as on 31st March, you pay me 90% of it and you go. No problem. So this example, this explanation tells you that in order to take care of these two, the areas, the outgoing reinsurers will have to pay 35% of the premium which they have earned during this year. And whatever claims outstanding is there for treaties portion, that 90% will have to be paid by them. So what is happening, you please follow me now here. In the 4th quarter, apart from the premium which you are going to pay to him for the 4th quarter and recoverable claims, if any, for the quarter and commission recoverable for the quarter, at the end of the 4th quarter, you will also be recovering 35% of the entire year's premium and 90% of the treaty share of claims outstanding from him. These two obviously will be an outgo for him. After deducting this in the fourth quarter from the outgoing reinsurer, we want the next set of reinsurers who are going to participate in the next financial year to take the responsibility of these. So what we say that for those reinsurers who are going to participate in the next financial year, we say that, boss, there are some unexpired portion of the premium policies are there for which you are responsible. Take this 35% of the premium of the same, and the same way I am giving you 90% of the claims outstanding. This also you please keep this, and whenever I pay the claim, you have to pay from that. So this tells you that in the fourth quarter, for those reinsurers who are going out, there will be a 35% of the premium as an outgo, as well as 90% of claim outstanding as an outgo. But for the next set of reinsurers, in the first quarter, they will be getting the same premium and outstanding as an income because they have to honor those claims, if any. This tells you that for a clean-cut treaty reinsurer, on every first quarter, he is getting the entry from the previous reinsurers of 35% and 90%. And at the fourth quarter, when he is going out, the same exercise is happening. He will have to pay 35% of the premium of the 4 quarters, and whatever outstanding is there, 90% of this. This tells us that for any reinsurer who is participating in clean-cut method of reinsurance, in addition to the premium commission claims activity, there is an income he is getting in the first quarter for 35% of premium of last year and 90% of claim outstanding last year. And when he goes out in the fourth quarter, there is an outgo of 35% of all the 4 quarters premium he earned so far and 90% of the claims outstanding. So first quarter, I will have an entry of 35% and 90% of claims outstanding. In addition to this, for the first quarter, whatever premium is an income to him, and whatever share of claims paid during the first quarter will be an outgo to him, and whatever RA commission is there is an outgo to him. And at the end of the fourth quarter, apart from the usual premium, claims paid, and agency commission, RA commission, his additional outgo will be 35% of the premium of all the 4 quarters he earned and 90% of the claims outstanding he is supposed to have made even if he had continued. These two are outstanding and these two are outgo for him. This is how the treaty is being arranged. I have given you conceptually how it works, how the income comes, how it becomes an outgo for him, what is the net settlement, how it can be adjusted. From the examination point of view, they will give you this in terms of crores, so don't get carried away by those 6 zeros, 7 zeros. So, what I will do, I will share 1 or 2 questions or some examples, samples through our sir to you all. You can practice that, and if you have any doubts, you can always call me at any point of time. So we have just now learned what is proportional, what are the type of arrangements are there. In surplus treaty, we have 2 types. One is risk attaching basis, the other one is underwriting year basis. And again, in the risk attaching basis, we saw that you have clean cut method is there, and that clean cut method, the reinsurers would like to go out of their liability for 31st March. They don't want to share any liability. So how the premium and loss entry is made in the first quarter and how the withdrawal is made in the fourth quarter, so that there will be a continuity of the chain every year, so that we don't have any break in between for the recovery component. So this is, in short, we have learned about the treaties aspects and how the accounting is being made. What we have seen is one portion of the reinsurance, which is known as proportional reinsurance. Now we are going to speak about the other component, which is known as non-proportional reinsurance. Before that, I would like to talk about one more aspect in the surplus treaty. We all know that in surplus treaty, we have ceding commission on flat rate basis as well as on sliding scale commission basis. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, what we are going to learn is one more aspect. You see the example which I am going to show you very carefully. This is just an example of how accounting is being made. During first quarter, I have got some income, then I have got premium entry and then loss entry. This is my total income. When I work out on the outgo, I have the commission, I have the claims paid, and then my total outgo is there. So income minus outgo will be giving the net, which is payable to reinsurers. 23,25,000 is the net payable to the reinsurers, which is arrived at by deducting the outgo from the income. That is clear here. Na? I will share this to you. What we have seen is that income minus outgo, there is some amount payable to the reinsurers. But the 23,25,000, what you are seeing is for the entire treaty share. But out of this, Swiss Re share is how much I have shown you in this example?
10%.
10%.
In this treaty,
2,32,000.
Swiss Re's share is only 10%. There are other reinsurers for 90%. Swiss Re's share is 10%. In the examination, there will be one question where they will give you the income and they will give you the outgo. Then they will say that what will be the Swiss Re's share of net amount. Swiss Re share will be given to you. They will ask you to work out and show what will be the Swiss Re share of net amount. What we have seen just above this is net payable to reinsurer is 23,25,000. This is for the 100% of the treaty. But Swiss Re share is how much? 10% only. So how much he will get from 23,25,000? 10%.
232,500.
Correct, no?
Yes, sir.
This is how the question comes. Now, I am going to the next point.
Sir, please repeat.
Yeah.
Sir, repeat.
Yeah. I am talking to you about one sum, very simple sum, which is asked in the question exams. In the exam, they will give you the income like this. They will give you the outgo like this, but they will not mention that this is income and this is outgo. They will say premium during, premium entry, loss entry, commission, claims paid, like that. In the first line, you just get it corrected as premium during the year. It is not first quarter, during the year. Okay. It is the first quarter I have mentioned. Actually, you should correct it. It is during the year. So during the year, in the exam, they will say the treaty share of premium will be this much. Their entry of premium is this much. Their loss entry is this much. This is the commission. This is the claims paid. Arrive at the net payable and find out what is Swiss Re's share of net payable amount. Swiss Re's participation is 10%. They will give you 3 different amounts and 4 none of the above. What you have seen in this example is you have worked out on your own and found which are all coming under income head, which are all coming under outgo, and arrived at the net amount, which is obviously payable to
Reinsurer.
surplus treaty reinsurers. But this 23,25,000 is not going to one reinsurer. The surplus treaty is participated by various reinsurers. One of them is Swiss Re, whose share is 10%. So the exam, they will ask you, what is the net amount or net payable to Swiss Re for the 10% will be 2,32,500, 2,50,000, 3 lakhs, none of the above. So you will have to work out and find out like this, I'm saying.
Okay.
It is very simple only, no? You will arrive at the overall. From there, you will arrive at Swiss Re share.
Sir, after calculation of Swiss Re, what we are supposed to do?
Nothing. This is what he is. See,
Okay.
this is what his share of amount to be paid. In the surplus treaty, for 100%, you should have treaty reinsurance support. Swiss Re is having 10%. Munich Re is having another 20%. Allianz Re is having 5%. If I add up all the reinsurers' share of percent, it will come to 100%.
In this statement, loss entry means?
Sorry?
In this statement, loss entry. There is a term loss entry.
I told you about loss entry. From where you got the loss entry? From the previous year's loss. 90% of outstanding, I said no? Like that.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if there is any exit, portfolio exit premium is there, so that will go under outgo?
It will be there. In this case, they have not given. If it is there, what they will say, portfolio loss withdrawal.
Yes, sir.
They will say premium, portfolio loss withdrawal, and loss withdrawal. Again, that will come under where? Outgo column.
Outgo, no? Correct.
That will come under outgo column. Then you will have to arrive at what is the net payable. In this example, they have given only entry. If the outgo is there, which will be there obviously, they will give that also. That will sit under outgo. Next point which we want to discuss is that before seeing this presentation, just to hear me this, I am saying that, boss, as per the treaty condition, we have followed the treaty condition, and if there is any profit to the treaty, that is because of our prudent underwriting, so you should share me a percentage of that profit also to the insurers. Who is asking this?
Reinsured.
No. Insurers are asking.
Insurer.
Reinsurers are in the surplus treaty. You want to know what is the performance of the surplus treaty. Now I have given you the performance in front of you. You just see. I have given performance of 2023-24. This is the performance of 23-24. There is premium entry is there, loss entry is there, premium is there, then outgo, commission, claims paid. What is ME? It is nothing but management expenses of the reinsurance. So that is also deducted. It is an outgo. Somebody was asking about withdrawal. No, here they have given, you see, premium withdrawal, loss withdrawal of the last year's, the current year. So if you see here, what is the premium you are having? What is the income you are having? You are having an income of, in the third row, you see, 35 lakhs. Yes or no?
35 lakhs.
Yes, sir.
What is your outgo against 35 lakhs? Only 26 lakh 87,000.
Yes.
So 35 minus 26 lakhs, you are getting a profit for the year 23-24. How much? 8 lakh 13,000. Clear enough?
30,000. Yes, yes, clear.
Yeah. In this case, the insurance company tells the reinsured, tells the reinsurer, because of my prudent underwriting only, your treaty has performed well and it is getting profit.
Hmm.
So you give me a commission on that profit also, say 10% or 20%. In this case, let us take 20%. Who is asking?
Insurer.
Insurer.
Insurer is asking. His point is valid, no?
Yes.
He is asking a commission on the profit and he says, give me 20% on that. So what is the 23-24 profit we have seen? 8,13,000. He is asking 20% on that. Now, when you are asking 20% on that, he is not ready to give you. He says, boss, you go to the surplus treaty agreed between us. There is a condition in the treaty that this result has to be seen along with the earlier 3 years. That is overall 3 years performance also. And you have to arrive at the average. And if there is any profit left, you can ask for the same. So what the insurance company does now, you have to do for 3 years. 23-24 is available. You have to go back to 22-23. 22-23, the treaty has produced a loss of how much here?
1 lakh.
1 lakh.
1 lakh. And I have to go back to one more year because he says it is 3 year, you have to check. In 21-22, there is a profit of 1,25,000. Now, you have to do the net effect here. 8,13,000 minus 1 lakh plus 1,25,000 divided by 3. And still, if you get a profit, then I will give you. If you work out, you are getting an average profit. And on that average profit, you have to apply this profit commission of 20%. See how clever he is. He is not ready to pay you directly on the profit you earned in 23-24 by 20%. He says you adjust the same for 3-year period and then take an average and come back to me. So instead of getting 20% on 8,13,000, I'm getting only a meager 55,000 rupees only. So there are certain aspects which we are seeing that reinsurers are putting more conditions. When you ask for certain profit, they say you average it out, you come to me. And if you still have anything left on that, I will work out 20% profit and then I will give you. In the question for 3 to 4 or 2 to 3, arriving at profit commission, they may ask a question like this. Mostly in 3 to 4, this can come. So the logic is very simple. When you arrive at the profit of the treaty for the concerned year, when you have this 3 years average concept, then you have to adjust this against the other 2 years. That means you have to take all the 3 years performance, net it out and divide it by 3. And still, if you have any profit on that only, you can pay the commission. So this is known as profit commission. So this example tells you that on whatever profit the treaty is getting, the insurance companies are asking a commission on that, which is known as profit commission. It is calculated on this basis. And if the profit commission has a condition of 3 years average, then you have to do like this. Then there is a condition, losses carried forward extension. That means in the earlier example we have seen you have to take 3 years performance and average it out. In this case, there is no adjustment at all. There is no netting. Netting is happening, but the average is not happening. In this example, if you see 8,13,000 minus loss minus plus profit, and whatever profit is there, on that only the profit commission is worked out. If you see the earlier commission at the bottom on an average basis, you are getting 55,000 only, whereas in this extinction basis, you are getting more because there is no average here. So there are different types of profit commission. One, they say that you have to adjust every year, and if you still have the balance, come to me. That is this one. Or you take the 3 years average, and then if you still have a profit, come to me, I will give you 20%. This one is known as 3 years average period, and this one is known as LCF, losses carried forward till extinction. So these are all known as.
I couldn't get.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the LCF, the method.
Model. Yeah,
the
you
method.
have understood 3 years average, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is happening in 3 years average? You are netting the 3 years performance first, correct? No? Yes, or no? After netting, you are dividing it by 3.
Yes.
To arrive at the average profit. Yes, or no? But in this case, you are not arriving at the average. You are only netting it down. Profit minus loss plus profit. So this is an average method. This is an extension, means till the loss is deducted. So from profit, I have deducted the loss. I have added profit. And on whatever final I am getting this, I will get 20%. If supposing there are consecutive losses after a profit, and if it ends in loss, then there will not be any commission at all. In this case, there is a profit because the profit is there in 21-22. There is a small loss in 22-23. Had it been heavy losses in 22-23 and 21-22, then it will end up in loss only. For example, in this case, you see 23-24 is producing 8,13,000. If 22-23 is having 10 lakhs and 21-22 is having 5 lakhs, that means it will cross 8 lakhs. So it will end up in loss only. So you are not eligible for any profit commission. The difference between this and the earlier one is, in the earlier one, you are netting it and dividing it by 3. That is what average. Here, you are not doing that average. That is why it is known as LCF, losses carried forward extinction. So these are the 2 types of profit commission. Now we are going to go the next important point. We are running out of time anyway. I will talk about this one, which is very important. We have seen in this diagram, there is a proportional reinsurance arrangement and non-proportional reinsurance arrangement. And we have spoken about proportional, and now we are going to talk about non-proportional. As the name indicates, it is something opposite to proportional. In what way? In non-proportional, unlike the reinsurance arrangement in proportional treaty, please follow me, it's a bit different from proportional treaty. In non-proportional treaty, what is happening is the insurance company decides as to how much loss it wants to retain, and beyond that, they are arranging a treaty arrangement to take care of the losses over and above the loss amount which they have decided to bear. For example, I'll give you one example. See what I have said here about non-proportional reinsurance. This is a form of reinsurance whereby the direct insurer limits the amount that he is prepared to lose as a result of any one event on the class or classes of business concerned, and then arranges reinsurance up to a specified limit. That means if there is one big fire in one of the chemical compounds, only one risk is affected. There is a big fire, only one risk is affected, and in that big fire, the net loss of the insurance company, let us say, is 100 crore. I am talking about only the net loss and not the gross loss. To understand what is non-proportional, I am giving you one example where in one big fire in one of the chemical factories, the net loss of the insurance company is 100 crore. As all of us know, every insurance company is issuing a number of such a huge risk policies in any given year. We are bound to get such huge net losses like what I have told you now. Insurance companies knew that they will be getting such big losses to the affecting their net. So they are purchasing one protection, one cover, which is known as excess of loss cover, where the insurance company says that in the event of any loss on any risk during this period, the insurance company is ready to bear, for example, 15 crores, and over and above, up to a period what they are purchasing, the reinsurers should come to the rescue and pay the losses. That means in this example which I have told you, there is a net loss of 100 crore. Now, the insurance companies are purchasing a cover for 300 crore with a deductible of, let us say, 20 crore. You don't go by this example now. Just listen to me. I am giving you an example of a net loss of 100 crore on one big fire. Insurance companies have purchased a protection which is known as excess of loss to take care of such net losses by purchasing a cover for one quantum of amount. Say, I want to have a cover for 300 crores to take care of such net losses, in which the insurance company is ready to bear the first 20 crores. That means they are purchasing a cover for 280 in excess of 20 crore. Overall, it is 300, but out of 300, they are ready to bear first 20 crore for each and every loss which they are going to claim. If there is any loss beyond that, this should come to the rescue up to the cover limit purchased, which is 280 crore. In this example, which I have shown you, there is a net loss of 100 crore to this company. This loss has happened on 7th July, let us say. They have purchased a protection to take care of such risk losses to the tune of 300 crore, which is 280 excess 20 crore. Now there is a loss of 100 crore to their net. How they will go and claim to this excess of loss reinsurers? They will go and say that my gross loss is this much. After deducting all other losses which are all recoverable, like surplus treaty fact, my net loss to the retention portion is this much. This net loss is 100 crore. As I have already agreed in this excess of loss treaty, I am ready to bear the first 20 crore of loss. You please pay me the balance 100 minus 20, 80 crore. This is known as excess of loss treaty. You must have observed from my explanation that all along in the non-proportional treaty, excess of loss treaty, I spoke only about the quantum of loss, 100 crore loss. I am ready to bear 20 crore loss. I have purchased a protection for 280 excess 20. In all these cases, I have only spoken about the quantum of loss only, and I have not spoken about the size of the risk here. I have not spoken about the size of the risk here, and hence there is no proportionality involved here. I only spoke about the quantum of loss, and in this case, I say that when my net loss is affected, I am ready to bear first 20 crore, and I will come to you for recovering for the balance up to the limit I have purchased. So if there is a loss of maximum 300, I will deduct 20 and I will ask you for 280 crores. This is known as excess of loss, where only we are talking about the quantum of loss as against the sharing of the risk, which we have seen in the proportional reinsurance. In this excess of loss, very important point we need to note is this. In the example which I have given you, for 300 crore, the cover limit purchased is 280 excess 20. But this 280 excess 20 will not be in the same way in a big way. This will be sliced into various layers. This 280 excess 20 crore excess of loss cover will be sliced into various layers. For example, the first layer can be 100 against excess of 20. The first layer can be 100 excess of 20. The second layer can be another 100 excess of 120. The third layer can be 80 in excess of 220. I repeat, we have just now spoken about an excess of loss cover, which is to protect the net loss of the insurance company on any individual risk loss. In this case, the insurance company has decided to bear 20 crores of any such net loss, and they want to protect their balance of the loss up to the limit they have purchased. In this case, the amount which they have purchased is for 300 with 280 excess 20. The loss, the example which I have just now told you is 100 crore. I have purchased a cover for 280 excess 20. So when I go to this excess of loss reinsurer, I will say, as per this agreement, first 20 crore I am ready to bear. The balance 80 crore you have to pay me. This first layer is 100 excess 20. So I will go to them and I will ask for the recovery. They are ready to pay in excess of 20 crore, which I have agreed. This is how the excess of loss works out. What we have seen is how the arrangement is being made, what is a layer, and why the layering is being made. The layering is being made here so that the reinsurers have the liberty of participating in any of the layers they choose. Obviously, whenever a loss comes, which layer will get affected first?
Layer 1.
Obviously, the layer 1 will get affected. So,
Yes.
if I want to be a very conservative reinsurer, I may choose the layer 3 and I may opt out layer 1. Since the payment will be more from the layer 1, which will be more affected, they are also known as a dirty layer. And obviously, the premium for the layer 1 will be
High.
high. It will be high, and comparatively, layer 2 and layer 3 will have a lesser amount. Now, what we have seen is that why the layering is made. The layering is made to enable the reinsurer to choose as to which layer he wants to participate. Practically nowadays, for your information, the reinsurers are participating in all the layers. They are not doing like that, but in very old good days, it was like that. Now, what we know is what is layering. What is layering? Layering is nothing but a division of the cover limit into various segments. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We have seen
Yes, sir.
this 300 crore is 280 excess 20. If I give this like a bread, nobody will participate. So I am giving them easily by cutting it into 3 different layers. 100 excess 20. Anybody want to buy? Take it. Then again, next layer 100 excess 120. What does this mean in the second layer 100 excess 120? In the second layer, they will come to your rescue for 100 only if you exceed 110, 120. What is this 120? Yes, 100. See, first layer is always for 100 excess 20, correct? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Overall, it is 120.
Yes, sir.
That is the deductible for the second layer. If you add up 120 plus 100, it is 220.
Yes, sir.
That will be the deductible for the third layer.
Yes,
So
sir.
it is 100 excess 20, 100 excess 120, then 80 excess 220. So they have to exhaust the previous layer and then come to the next set of reinsurers for recovery. What we have now seen is what is layering. Please note in the examination, these are being asked. Layering is nothing but division of the cover limit into various segments. Layering is always happening in excess of loss, which is a non-proportional treaty, whereas lines, which we learned 1.5 hours back, is always happening where?
Surplus.
Surplus treaty,
Proportional
which is proportional reinsurance. So we now know layering in the excess of loss treaty, the concept is same. If it is going to cover, it is known as risk excess of loss. If it is going to cover a catastrophe, it is known as catastrophe excess of loss. What is cat XL or catastrophe? What is happening in Chennai now is the monsoon period, so the rains are going on, the flood will be there. So these types of losses where more than 2 risks are affected and AOG peril is there. These are all coming under catastrophe losses. Mumbai floods, Uttarakhand floods, Chennai floods, Hudhud losses. All these are catastrophe losses. To take care of such catastrophe losses also, the insurance companies are purchasing the excess of loss cover. The principle is same like what I have told you. Only in case of catastrophe loss, the cover limit will be very high. Also, the deductible will be high. The catastrophe law of excess of loss covers more than one portfolio because it takes care of the property portion of various classes. Fire, engineering, miscellaneous. In compact policies, you have property. So there are so many policies which are having property. Those are all brought under one roof and we are protected. That is catastrophe excess of loss cover. One very big difference between the individual risk excel and catastrophe loss excess is this, which we are going to learn now. I am going to give you one example of a catastrophe loss event. Please follow me. Let us assume that there is a flood loss because of the monsoon rains in Mumbai, and the flood loss is from 7th July to 20th July. In order to recover the losses, when I say losses, net losses, in order to recover the net losses from the catastrophe excess of loss reinsurers, the insurers arrive at what is the total net losses they have suffered in each policy. Please remember, when such a huge catastrophic losses are happening in various portfolios, fire, engineering, miscellaneous, etc., it is not one or two or 100 or 1,000, it is lakhs and lakhs of policies are getting affected under one event. On each and every policy, the insurance company has a portion of the risk as their own retention. So for each policy, they have their own net share of loss to be paid from their pocket. Yes or no? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
to arrive at what is my total net loss arising out of an event, the insurance companies take out policy by policy details and arrive at what is their net losses in all these policies. And when they arrive at the net losses arising out of this event, it runs into crores. For instance, in this example, from 7th July to 20th July, if the insurance company is doing this exercise and arrive at their net premium, net loss, it may go up to 200 crores arising out of this event. I am talking only about the net losses arising out of this event. I am not talking about the gross loss. The net loss itself arising out of this cat policy, cat peril, for various policies put together, accumulation, it runs into crores. When I arrive at the net loss by accumulating all my net losses for the period from 7th July to 20th July during this rainy season and flood, it came to, let us say, 200 crores. Assuming that I have a cover for a catastrophic excess of loss with the same deductible of 20 crore, and I deduct the 20 crore to be borne by me and ask for the balance 180 crore, the reinsurers will pay the loss, but you will come out of the flood, but they will be in floods because they are paying a huge loss and they will not be able to come out of this big issue. So what they do, they are cleverer than us. They are asking for the details from you. You are saying that I have arrived at by taking the dates from 7th July to 20th July, and that is how this 200 crore net loss is arrived at. Now, the reinsurers, when they are entering into this agreement, no, before the financial year started, they have already inserted one clause here, and they say that, boss, it is not like what you are taking into account, those dates are to be taken. You please see there is one clause which is known as hours clause and come back to me. So in the hours clause, what they are saying, when there is floods of this nature, for example, the maximum hours to be taken for arriving at the net loss will be 72 consecutive hours. 72 consecutive hours. It is only an example. What they are trying to say, in order to arrive at your event loss on net portion, you cannot take from 7th to 20th July. At the most, as per the hours class, the maximum for flood will be how many hours?
It is.
72 hours.
72 hours. That means how many days? How many days?
3 days.
3 days.
3
3
days.
days. When I calculated for 14 days and I asked him money, he is cleverer than me. He is showing me the condition. Now, when I went back and saw this, I realized that there is an hours clause for this, which says it should be 72 consecutive hours. What does it mean? The 72 hours which you are going to choose to arrive at the worst loss to your net cannot be handpicked. It has to be chronological or consecutive in order. From 7th to 20th, you have incurred a loss. Now, because of this condition, I am forced to go into 3 worst days in this 7th to 20th, and I find that 14th, 15th, 16th, 72 consecutive hours are the worst, and I found the net loss for this 3 days is coming only to 100 crores. So in this 100 crore, I have to bear 20. So what will be my recovery from the reinsurers? $100 minus 20, how much it will be?
83.
80 crore. Have you seen the difference now? Earlier, I took the entire loss period and I arrived at 200 crore. Minus 20, I said, give me 180. Now he says, no, you take this hours class and work out accordingly. It says only 72 consecutive hours. I cannot take 72 hours here, 8th, 20th, 19th, 15th, like that. Any 72 hours, consecutive hours. So this restricted me. Now I am forced to take 72 consecutive 3 days together with the worst loss experience. I am now ending with only 100 crore. Finally, 100 minus 20, I am asking 80 crores. So what you have learned now is there is an hours clause which gives you the definition for an event. It will say 24 hours for EQ, 48 for volcano, like that. It's an example, but this hours clause is there in every excess of loss treaty. So this tells you that whenever such things are happening, you first look into the hours class, then arrive at the net losses. We are going to the next point here, which is very important. In the case of excess of loss treaty also, like the surplus treaty, the duration shall be from 1st April to 31st March only. But there is a marked difference in the coverage. As you might be recollecting, in the case of surplus treaty, it said all the policies which are incepting between 1st April to 31st March are covered. Yes or no?
Yes.
In this case also, excess of loss treaty is starting from 1st April to 31st March. The only big difference is in the case of excess of loss, it says that losses should have happened between 1st April to 31st March, even though the policies might have incepted prior to 1st April. Very, very important. In the case of excess of loss, it says that losses should have happened between 1st April to 31st March, even though the policies might have incepted prior to that. For example, if there is a flood loss between 7th July to 15th July, and there are n number of policies affected, one of them whose inception was from 1st March of this year. Even though policy has incepted prior to 1st April, since the loss has happened in July this year, the excess of loss will respond. Is that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is the difference between these two? While in the surplus treaty, we saw that it is accepting on a risk attaching basis. Correct? Yes or no?
Yes, yes, yes.
Whereas in the case of excess of loss, it is based on the date of loss. So it is known as losses occurring during basis, LOD. It is known as losses occurring during basis, LOD basis. So this is the important crux in the non-proportional treaty. Every insurance company is buying protection to protect their net, either arising out of an individual risk, or it can be a catastrophe loss, or they may buy a marine excess of loss to take care of their net losses in marine, or it can be in liability. So in a nutshell, this is an example under non-proportional treaty where there is only the talk about is on the quantum of loss and how it is being protected. Excess of loss is an example under non-proportional treaty. We also have a stop loss reinsurance arrangement. As the name indicates, the only difference between the risk or catastrophe excess of loss and stop loss is this. In the case of risk or catastrophe excess of loss, we are talking about the quantum of loss, 280 excess 20, 150 excess 10. Like this, we are talking about the quantum of loss, and the reinsurers comes to your rescue once the quantum of loss exceeds the predetermined limit, that is deductible. In this example, it is 20 crore. Against this, in the case of stop loss, instead of the quantum of loss, it talks about the loss ratio. It says that I will come to your rescue once the loss ratio of your portfolio exceeds 80%, but it is not unlimited. I will come to your rescue only up to 150%. That means at the end of the year, if your net loss is 75%, you cannot recover. But if your net loss is 81%, how much percentage you can recover?
1%.
1%. If your net loss is 160%, what will happen?
80%.
Up to 80, anyway, you have to bear. From 80
Yes.
to 150, you are eligible for recovery. The balance 10%, no? Again, will fall back on the insurer. Yes or no?
Yes,
So
sir.
how up to 150?
Because you have purchased the cover only up to 150, 150.
Yeah, right,
In
right,
the
right.
second example, I said your ICR is 160, 160. So what will happen? Anyway, up to 80 you have to bear. You have bought the cover up to 150. So you will get that gap, between 80 to 150 you will get. But after 150 to 160, there is no protection, no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is known as stop loss reinsurance arrangement. As I had just now explained you, instead of the quantum of loss, which you have seen 280 excess 20, like that, instead of quantum of loss, it is the ICR percentage which comes here. In excess of 20, it says in excess of 80% ICR. In excess of 280 crore, instead of 280 crore, it says 150% ICR. This is known as stop loss reinsurance arrangement. Clear? So this is known as stop loss reinsurance arrangement. We have seen how it is working, how it is working, and what is the basic difference in the functioning. While in surplus treaty, it is on risk attaching basis. Here it is on losses occurring during basis. Now, when we spoke about all these agreement, I want to purchase 280 excess 20. I want to purchase a stop loss. Obviously, you have to pay the premium, for this excess of loss cover to the reinsurers. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the excess of loss premium, how it is being arrived at? There are three methods by which the reinsurers are asking premium from the insurers. One is known as flat percentage method. Flat percentage method is if you are going to a reinsurer and you are asking to give a cover for 280 excess 20, then he says, I am giving you a rate of 5%, which is to be applied on your estimated net premium income. Why it is to be applied on estimated net premium income? Because what is that you want to cover? You want to cover your net only, no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Since you want to cover your net, they are giving you some X rate and say that is to be applied on the estimated gross net premium income. It is known as GNPI. When it is known as estimated GNPI, it is shown as EGNPI, gross net premium income. Why it is told as estimated? Because at the beginning of the year, you will only estimate. No, you cannot arrive at the actual net premium income. How will you arrive at the net premium income? From the gross premium, what are all the other outgoes such as obligatory, surplus treaty premium, fact premium? All this you will deduct and finally net will be there. That is your net premium. So this is known as GNPI. Since you cannot say the foresee what will be your actual GNPI, you will be giving only an estimated GNPI, which is known as EGNPI. So the first methodology is in excess of loss. They will give you one flat percentage to be arrived at on the to be multiplied on the GNPA. So you have to, when he says 4% flat, that is to be applied on GNPA. Then you have to apply this on estimated GNPA. And since you will know your actual GNPA only at the year end, they will collect 80% of the premium which you have arrived at on the estimated GNPA by collecting a deposit of 85% or 80% payable in 4 quarterly or 2 quarterly installments, as the case may be. I repeat what I have said just now. We learned about excess of loss. Now we have to pay the premium to the reinsurers for availing this excess of loss cover. There are 3 methods of rating. First method is known as flat percentage method, where the reinsurers give you a flat percentage to be arrived at by multiplying this on the estimated GNPI, since you will know only the actual GNPI at the end of the financial year. Whatever premium you are arriving at by multiplying with the estimated GNPI, that will be taken as deposit and you will be asked to pay 80% of the same or 85% of the same divided by 4 equal installments. At the end of the year, when you come to know your actual GNPA and apply the rate given by him, and if the resultant premium is less than the deposit you have paid, please note the deposit will hold good. There is no scope for refund. On the other hand, if the actual GNPA is more than the estimated GNPA, you will have to pay the difference in premium accordingly. This is flat rate percentage method. There is another method that is known as flat quantum money. For 280 excess, you give me 10 crore premium. Here, the rate is not arrived at, the quantum is arrived at. Pay me flat 10 crore. This is known as flat quantum money, that is flat amount paid, to be paid. Earlier we saw flat rate, this is the flat amount. Third one is known as burning cost method. This is normally done on a long tail nature claims where the claims are going on, where the reinsurers are not able to get their rates immediately based on their past loss experience. What they are doing in the burning cost method is this. Burning cost is nothing but your incurred loss divided by the GNPI. If you find out what is your ICR for your net component divided by GNPI will give you a rate which is just enough to pay the losses to the insurers. I repeat, now I am talking about the third method of rating. This is known as burning cost method. In the burning cost method, this is arrived at by dividing the incurred loss by GNPA into 100. Your net ICR divided by your GNPI into 100% gives you a percentage. That percentage is known as burning cost, which is just enough to make the payment for the claims. Obviously, the reinsurers would like to load it for their profit to take care of the inflation as well as for other administrative expenses. So the universal practice is to load it by 100/70. So whatever rate you have arrived at by dividing the ICR, when I say ICR, net ICR divided by GNPA, you get a percentage. That percentage is known as BC rate or burning cost rate. That is to be loaded by 100/70. So when you multiply this by 100/70, the resultant rate is known as LBC. It is known as loaded burning cost. So there can be a question in 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 where there would have been some details given like this. Net ICR will be given, net GNPA will be given, then they will give a loaded BC with a minimum rate and maximum rate. Minimum rate 3%, maximum rate 6%. Find out the premium to be paid. In this example, what they have given in the question is what is the net ICR, what is the GNPA, and very importantly, they have given one more point, the minimum rate and maximum rate to be applied. When we are going to work out, first work will be from our side to find out what is the burning cost. The formula for burning cost is ICR divided by GNPA into 100. So you will get some X percentage, that is burning cost. So they will say that you have to load it by 100%, 100/70. That will also be given in the question. And you have to arrive at the LBC. Burning cost into 100/70 will be slightly more than the burning cost. So the resultant LBC, let us say, is 8%. Whereas I told you they have given a minimum rate of 3% and maximum of 6% only. Since the resultant rate which we have arrived at is more than the maximum rate given, the maximum rate will apply, that is 6%. So you will be applying 6% into the GNPA and find out the premium. The other example will be if the burning cost into 100/70 gives you 4%, which is between the minimum and maximum given in the question paper, the exact percentage has to be taken, that is 4%, and that is to be applied on GNPA. So what we have learned from this example is this. When the resultant percentage is more than the maximum given will be taken and GNPA will be applied on that. So the rate into GNPA into 100 will be the premium. If the resultant rate arrived at is less than the minimum rate, then the minimum rate will apply. That means after applying the LBC, if I am getting 2% only, but the question says the minimum rate is 3%, you have to take 3% since the minimum is 3%, which is more than 2% which you have arrived at. So this is known as burning cost method. So what we have seen in the excess of loss, there are three concepts: fixed rate, fixed premium, and burning cost method. Premium are paid in installments to be adjusted later, and very importantly, the losses should have happened between the 1st April to 31st March. So these
Sir,
are the, yeah. Tell me.
Sir, what was the second method? One
Which
is
one?
flat rate. One is flat premium. What was the
Flat
second
rate?
method? Second,
Flat premium, quantum. No? Instead of percentage, you give me 10 crore. That is flat premium. First one is flat rate. You don't have to apply burning cost, this and that. He is giving you 4%. So you will be applying this 4% on the EGNPA given. Instead of 4%, he says for this GNPA, give me 10 crore premium. You don't have to work out. So the premium itself is given already. That is known as flat premium. The third one, what we have seen is the burning cost method. Now, I want to tell you one important point as far as the calculation. Now you have understood how it is being done. The one important point which you should understand is that we will go back to the example which we started at the beginning. Let us say that there is a loss of 120 crore on 7th July. This 120 crore is the net loss. The loss is on 7th July. So I go to the layer 1. Layer 1 limit is 100 excess 20. So the loss is 120. So I go there. I bear the first 20. I am asking for the balance 100 because my net loss in this example, which I just now told you, is 120. I have to bear first 20. The balance is 100 crore. Layer limit for the first layer is 100 crore. Obviously, the layer 1 reinsurers will pay fully. Yes or no?
Yes, 80 crores.
Because the cover limit is 100 there. They will pay the 100 crores. So the entire 100 crore which was available earlier is fully utilized and it is no more available for any future loss. Yes or no?
Yes.
yes, sir.
Yes, because you have utilized it now for the 7th July loss. If there is anything happening in October or December, the first 100 you cannot take because you have already used it. So what does it indicate? It indicates that like the engineering policies, I want to have a reinstatement facility so that I can reinstate the amount which I have used for the first loss. There is a facility in excess of loss where the reinstatement facility is available. That is shown like this. In layer 1, they will say that 1 at 100. When they say 1 at 100 means, when they say 1 at 100 means this. You are having an opportunity to reinstate the layer once. How many times you can reinstate?
Once.
Once. That is what they are conveying by 1 at 100. But the problem here is that there is one catch in the reinstatement facility. Unlike in our engineering policies or other policies where you are having this reinstatement provision where you are reinstating only for the unexpired portion of the policy. Yes or no?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. In this case, you have to pay for the unexpired portion, for the utilized portion fully, not for the unexpired portion. If I have used it on 7th July, the reinstatement premium for that layer will be for the entire period and not for the proportionate period. So this is known as to the amount only. That means if out of 100 crore, if I have used only 80 crore, I can reinstate this 80 for 80 crore only by paying proportional premium, but not for the unexpired portion only. It is for the entire year again. So in this case, you end up paying 100% premium for the portion you have utilized, unlike in the engineering where you are paying only for the unexpired portion of the policy. This is known as to the amount. What we have learned now is that in the excess of loss policy, there is a concept called reinstatement facility, which is shown at 1 at 100. Means you have to pay the premium of 100% of the premium of layer 1 for one reinstatement. If they say 2 at 100, it means you have two reinstatement facilities. Like that, it goes on. So what we have learned is the reinstatement facility. There can be a condition at 125 also. That means you are supposed to reinstate by paying not 100% of the layer on premium, but 125% of the layer on premium. That means you are paying very heavily for reinstatement. So what we have learned now is 1 at 100 or 1 at 125 tells you that how many times you can reinstate and in what manner. So in a nutshell, what we have seen in excess of loss is that you can reinstate the policy by purchasing the reinstatement facility before the financial year starts. So what I will do, since layer 1 will always get affected often, I will ask for 2 reinstatements, and maybe as the layers go by, I may ask for only 1 also, so that I will have a facility for recover more in subsequent reinstatement facilities. So this is known as now excess of loss treaty. There are so many varieties in excess of loss treaty also. We have seen how a risk is covered, how a catastrophic loss is covered. We also have a whole account excess of loss cover covering all the portfolio under one roof. And we have umbrella excess of loss cover, which will take care of any gap in the reinsurance arrangement and so on. So what we now know is that under non-proportional treaty, the examples are excess of loss treaty or stop loss treaty or umbrella excess of loss treaty or whole account excess of loss treaty. We should keep this in mind. And one important thing here is that for each and every layer, what we have seen, if you want to reinstate that layer only, you should know what is the premium for that layer. And when you are reinstating only a portion of the limit, you are applying only proportionate share of premium for that portion of the limit. As I told just half an hour back as to how the ratings are done, the rating for layer 1 is, let us say, 4% on GNPA. Let us say the layer 2 rate for shall be 3% and layer 3 will be 2% on GNPA. When I say 4% on GNPA for layer 1, and 3% for layer 2 and 1% for layer 3. In all, it comes to 8% for the entire 280 XS 20 program. So the rate charged for the entire program is 8%, whereas for the layer 1, the rate is more, which is 4%. So we need to keep this in mind that rate is always applied on GNPA. When I apply 4% on GNPA, I will arrive at some premium for layer 1. Same way, when I apply 3% on layer GNPA, I will get some premium which is for layer 2. Same way, if I do the same method, I will get for layer 3. So you now know what is the premium for each layer, and if at all there is any reinstatement has to be done proportionately, it is done proportionately on the premium arrived at. The next important point is, if you want to know what is the cost you are spending for any given layer is, when the premium for the layer is arrived at or given, if you divide the premium by the layer limit, you will get a cost to the layer. Premium divided by the cover limit will give you the cost to the layer, that is known as a rate on line. Cost to the layer is known as a rate on line, which is in short known as ROL. Normally, these treaties have clauses which are common in nature. One is known as claims cooperation clause. Claims cooperation clause tells that in the event of a likelihood of a claim crossing this much percentage, you are supposed to inform the reinsurers immediately and keep him informed of the developments, like who is the surveyor, what is the current development, everything has to be kept informed. This is coming under claims cooperation clause. A more stringent clause is known as claims control clause. In the case of claims control clause, it is literally the reinsurer who takes the entire job of appointing surveyor or adjuster, and right from the day one, he will be taking the entire command on the claims. So this is known as claims control clause. IRDA has,
Sir, insurer appoints or reinsurer appoints?
In the case of
Claims control
clause, it is the reinsurer who appoints. Because
claims control.
he is taking control of the entire claim from beginning, and he is taking care of all the steps which we normally do in the normal case. Once you give the intimation, if that has a claims control clause, then he will take over, he will appoint surveyor, he will interact, he will appoint adjuster if it is a merit claim. So all this will be done by him. Of course, the insurers will be involved in the process. Unlike in other cases where we are appointing the surveyors and informing the reinsurers, here he is taking the entire control. So this is the difference between the claims cooperation and claims control clause. What we have seen in all these cases is that how it is placed and how these are all being done. When a treaty or the retention is finalized, as I told you in the beginning, the sheet containing the details of your retention as well as the subsequent reinsurance program is known as RI program. This RI program has to be filed with IRDA in the prescribed summary format given by them at least before 45 days prior to the start of the financial year. That means by 15th February, you should have filed your program in the summary format given by the after this, within 90 days, you will have to submit the revised final RA program, and subsequently you will have to file a list of reinsurers who are participating in the treaty to the IRDA. That time frame they have given, which I have mentioned in the PPT, I will share that to you. In this subject, I mean, in the RA subject, apart from these basic things, there are two more chapters. One is talking about inward acceptance. It is nothing but the insurer also is acting like a reinsurer by allocating a small portion of the capacity in order to understand the market of the international market. As well also he wants to participate in the other company's treaty as a reinsurer. If he is having a mutual arrangement with other insurer in the other country where he is participating in other insurance companies treaty, as well as that insurer is participating in his treaty, this is known as a reciprocal arrangement. Means you will be in their RA treaty and they will be in your RA treaty. The purpose is to understand as to how these are being done in the other countries, particularly in developed countries, so that you will gain more technical knowledge out of this. So there are reciprocal arrangements where mutual, participation will be there. There are non-reciprocal arrangements. That means there need not be mutual participation if you are interested. If your treaty is doing well, you can do, but there are minimum rating that is being required in the international market. If we satisfy that, they will accept our participation. These are all coming under inward acceptance, which is also forming part of your reinsurance program. Apart from this, there is one lesson which is known as alternative risk transfer, called as ART in general. Alternative risk transfer. As the name indicates, it is an alternative to the existing reinsurance arrangement, though it is not fully replacing its same. The idea is to protect the property and other tangible product with intangible products like fluctuation in the market, the inflation like that. But it's a theoretical subject. I have given you some points from this lesson also. Questions are coming in the exam. So I would request you to go through this and, prepare for the same. Finally, I would like to inform you that please go through the glossary of terms given at the end of the book, which is some 7 or 8 pages, which is very, very easy to understand. And also in this PPT, I have used some clauses, whichever we are coming across normally. And I will share this PPT to you. Whatever I have explained you in macro level is given here point by point, so that it will be easier for you. I hope I have tried my level best to squeeze in all the important points. Of course, because of paucity of time, it's already 1:30. I will share this PPT and maybe some sums also to you. Please go through. And if you have any doubts, you can always call me or WhatsApp me at any point of time. My mobile number is 88709 41186. 88709 41186. My only humble request is that I would request you to immediately go through the book today itself, so that you will not forget what we have discussed now. This will be of much helpful to you if you want to appear for this subject. With this, I am winding it up, and thank you all of you for your patient hearing, and all the best to everyone. As I just now told you, if you have any doubts, you can always ask me over WhatsApp. I am ready to answer at any point of time. Thank you again, and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, is there any class in second half? Hello?
Yes,
Is there
motor
any
TP
class?
class is there. Motor TP class is there.
Okay, okay.
But
Thank you.
you will not be able to join using this link. There is a different link for that.
Oh, okay.
What time it will start?
Is
At
it
what
shared?
time it will start? At what time it will start?
2 o'clock.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.